I just started these things. These
What's that?
Ons. Yeah.
See, I don't like. I use the Zins. Let me see that real quick.
Well, it's the 3 milligram makes my face feel like it's on fire.
Well, this I use 6.
What's wrong with you?
Oh, dude, there's a lot wrong with me.
Yeah. Why?
Well, I do. Hold on, I want to see.
And I bought it and I thought it was like a watermelon flavor because I'm a fruit.
Wintergreen.
Yeah. And then I opened it up and I was like, oh.
I kind of want you to throw one of these 6 milligrams in.
No.
No,
I won't do it.
Why not?
Because I've done it before.
All right.
It's not even pleasant.
All over the fucking.
No, and you know what? And then I start hiccuping.
Oh yeah. I've experienced that too.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the hiccups.
So some of these, and this one isn't. I think the actual brand is there's Zin,
There's Alp.
What the hell is the one I'm thinking of? So on the back it'll tell you contains formaldehyde, a chemical compound known to cause cancer in California. I don't know
just
that.
not other states?
Yeah. Everywhere else you're fine.
Yeah, Ohio, you can't get cancer from it.
Yeah. So the Zins are, nicotine salt and other food grade ingredients.
Once they put and other, I don't know what the fuck that is.
And they could put, natural flavoring could be anything.
Yeah, it could be zebra cum.
Anything. So
Nobody wants that.
right. So I know Zin's website. I've been on it before. They it's like any type of marketing thing. They find ways to dance around certain things, and it's like, well, it's only food grade ingredients and this and that. And it's like, really, what is it? And but I don't know. Zin's and then these are badass. You ever try these?
Alpha Fuel?
Yeah.
What is that?
Dude, so this, you should throw one of these in. You can throw it in with it. There's no nicotine, nothing like that.
Yeah, what is it?
So just trust me, put it in your mouth.
It's alpaca spit.
It's all my used Zins from before.
Yeah.
So I actually got these from the Rogan podcast.
Oh, is that like Alpha Brain?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Fully Loaded is the brand. That's
okay.
the company that makes it, right? And the Alpha Fuel basically has caffeine in it. So there's taurine, caffeine.
You know what taurine is, right?
Yeah, it's
synthetic bull testosterone.
Well, I don't know if I knew that to that extent.
Well, we need to know what those things are.
Oh, good, excellent.
Yeah, everybody's giving me shit for smoking. I'm like, nicotine's good. It's the other 127 ingredients that aren't.
Yeah, if you decide you want to grab one, that's a berry flavor, but that's got the nootropics in it. So that's the
for the brain stuff.
Yeah. So
where do you get this?
I got it on Amazon. But I think it's
Oh, it smells good.
Oh yeah. That's berry. I've had apple. They make the classic wintergreen stuff, but I use that in the gym. I'll throw one of those in, and then I'll throw a nicotine pouch in.
So you put both of these in at the same time?
Yeah.
Do you think it actually helps?
I'll tell you, man. I have felt. Now, here's the thing about when we talk about placebo. All right, I'm not going to sit here.
I might take some.
Yeah. If the effect is real, I don't care if it's placebo or not. If I'm feeling something,
I used to tell people that about Reiki. Did you ever do that? Oh yeah, you just started doing that.
Remember? Yeah.
I would tell people, I'm like, it's cheaper than a therapist, and I feel better when I leave.
Yeah. So like, I don't care if it's a placebo. I don't care if it's like that really doesn't do that to your brain or it doesn't stimulate the chemicals that it says it stimulates or whatever the case. I'm feeling it, and if I'm feeling it, it's tangible and it's real. So yeah, I've definitely felt like more clarity when I'm speaking. I know that I've over the last. I don't know, probably 18 months, I found myself in this awful doomsday scroll type of mentality.
What is your algorithm? What's your doom scrolling algorithm? I'm always curious about this.
So I'll just let you look at it, and as opposed to me saying what it is.
Oh, what the fuck? So it's just hot chicks and abs.
Hot chicks, abs. There's
Wait, how is this considered doom scrolling? Is this just your search?
So here, no. So like that's when I click the search button. So that just gives me all of the common things that piques my interest.
Now I'm super curious about what mine is.
Yeah. So Instagram's got this tool. I don't know if Facebook and all the other stuff has it.
Well, Facebook's now like the paper shop of the internet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Here's mine. Mine's just. I don't. It's madness. It's like Mel Gibson.
I think I see an RFK in there.
Beef.
Yeah.
Is RFK in here?
It looks like RFK. Every old Jack guy I think is RFK now.
Yeah, that looks like Jeffrey Epstein and RFK's kid.
Holy shit! A little bit of Triple H mix.
Yeah, a little bit in there. Yeah, and it's always like these like crazy frequency shit and nuclear explosions. So like I'd say. Yours is more of an insecure doom scroll.
Okay.
Mine's more of a like, we're all gonna die doom scroll. It doesn't matter how healthy you are.
Well, and here's how. So when you say doom scroll, how I interpret doom scroll is, what am I getting from this? Okay, so I hid behind this a little bit when I first started getting really big into the social media stuff, because I didn't have Facebook prior to 2020. I didn't have Instagram until.
What's wrong with you? Why would you start it up? You've made it.
Well,
you've gotten past it.
So when I was younger, I had it, and I deleted it when I was like, I don't know, 18, 19 years old. And then I got it back in 2020. And the reason I got it back is because a buddy of mine, we actually did our own podcast back in 2020. I think I mentioned that to you on the phone. So I was like, okay, how do we get followers? And I'm like, we got to create social media. My buddy is not social media friendly. So I'm like,
okay,
I got to do it. So then I go out there and I just start, requesting all these people and adding all these people and all this stuff, and then just promoting the page. And then 2 years into the podcast, we kind of dipped away from it from a little bit. Like life happened. He had a second kid. He opened up a gym down in South Carolina. I got real busy doing like counseling work and stuff like that. So I ended up just staying on Facebook. And then I've caught myself in this like web over the last like 18 months where I'm like, dude, I'm spending way too much time on social media.
Yeah.
So when I talk about doomsday scrolling, I don't mean like, necessarily like getting caught into like a political thing and, oh my God, the world's falling and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's, what am I getting from this material? And in the beginning, it was a lot of like Andrew Huberman, if you're familiar with him. Okay, so a lot of Huberman stuff. Gary Brecka.
Yep.
I'm really big into Brecka. A lot of anti-aging experts. Philosophy.
Brian Johnson. Did you get into Brian Johnson yet?
Brian Johnson freaks me out, dude.
Why?
Because he kind of looks a little weird to start.
I think he got work done before he started his journey.
So there's something about his personality.
Did you see him do the mushroom trip?
No, I didn't know he did that.
He did a live mushroom trip.
Really?
Yeah, about a month and a half
We're talking
ago.
about the dude that claims to be the healthiest human being alive, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Here's my concern with him. First of all, how can you come out and say I am the healthiest human being alive?
Well, how can McDonald's say it's the best burger?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I get it.
I get what
I get it.
He's saying. But first of all, dude, we don't have the money and the resources you have. You know what I mean? So
True.
like to be able, like you're coming out here saying you got to follow my protocol. Most people can't do that, That's why I like some of these other anti-aging type guys that are, like even Brecka. When Brecka first hit the scene, Brecka was like, listen, I'm not telling you use my genetic methylation test. I'm not telling you. He wasn't pushing supplements on people. He came right out and said like sunlight, box breathing, hot cold exposure, things like that are a grounding. And he said like, this can change your life. This could be transformational, and it costs you nothing. Except for a few minutes of your time. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And then like when he educated people on the methylated, vitamins and specifically like the folate and things like that. So I feel like when you're addressing an audience, you have to understand like what your audience is capable of, and what they have to work with, right?
I mean, he's kind of, he's hitting a certain economic bracket.
Oh, 100%,
you know what I mean?
Dude. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then I wonder, how much of these guys are characters?
Like how much of it is performative?
Correct. Yes.
Well, look at the politicians.
Dude, yeah. It's like they're following the recipe. I get it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But like the one dude I always go back to is God, his name's slipping my mind right now. See the brain rot. Like I used to.
Do you want one of these alpha fuels?
It's one alpha fuel. And this. So a couple guys come to mind. Okay, I didn't even. All I had to do was touch it.
Yes,
it just had to touch my skin.
I knew it would
and
work.
seep through my pores.
I knew it would work.
Andrew Tate.
Oh yeah, Cobra.
Whatever his name.
Yeah.
So I had.
By the way, he's very controversial.
Very controversial. Yeah. I had a guy, young kid, client of mine. He was a gambler, and this is 2022, 2023 when Tate was really starting to take off. I first saw him in. It was probably like June 2020. And he was the one going like, he was talking about the masks. Oh, yeah.
He goes, I chartered jets. No one checks me for anything.
Yeah.
He's like, this is all just for you guys to get fucked.
Yeah.
And I was like, who is this man?
Who's speaking this
Who is
language?
this speaking this? Why am I afraid of this thing and he's not afraid of this thing? So yeah, but then that's when I first heard of Andrew Tate.
Yeah. And this dude, this young kid was like a Tate disciple. And he just
Top G.
Oh yeah, Top G. That's what he would always say. He'd be like,
yeah.
"Oh, Top G, Top G."
Yeah.
And so I was starting to watch some of his videos because I'm like, all right, well, I want to learn a little bit about what this guy's about. And I was listening to the stuff that he was saying, and some of it had some merit. Like some of it I kind of liked, but the majority of it, I'm like, dude, what the hell? And I just kind of thought to myself, this dude is selling to young, impressionable, lack of focus type of young men. And he's selling this system because he had that at that time, at least. He
was it at the Tate University or something
like that? Yeah. Where it was like you spend $1,200 on this course on how to be a man, right? And all these types of principles and all this stuff. And I saw how much it influenced this kid. And this kid was
how old was this kid?
He might have been 22, 23 at the time. I could see how misguided this kid was and lack of direction he had in his life and lack of any real positive influences in his life. Very dysfunctional relationship with his family, which played a big role in his gambling. That's what he presented.
It's a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, dude, this kid's just taking this hook, line, and sinker. And I would sit there and tell him, like, look, I'm not trying to kill your hero here, but like, I think a lot of this is character. And I think he's performing, and I think he's selling a product, and he's specifically targeting an audience that he wants. And I think he's doing a very, very good job at it. Now, I'm not saying everything he's saying is terrible and nonsense, but it's like one of those, like, take it with a grain of salt. Like even Brecca, I'm like that. Like I love Brecca. I love the stuff he has to say.
We have like this weird thing in this country where we have to like deify.
Check this out.
Did that come off a fucking 1972 tractor? What is that?
This actually doubles as a tool for when I'm walking home late at night.
Yo. That's why I got my Yeti.
Yeah.
I like every time I'm in a weird situation, I'll do like one. I'll grab it weird.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I will hit you like a bitch.
Yeah.
I'm not here to lose.
Yeah. I'm not
if I kill you, I'll kill you.
Right.
No, but I think there's something like, so like the beginning of COVID was like this big journey for me to like start to understand like human nature and why people behave the way that they want to behave or why like, and if you can change it.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that like, I always look at stuff as a source. It's like something happens. You know what I mean? So like I've told this story before, but like I took a massive dose of psychedelics on February 22nd, 2020. But what led me there was like all of this research. And I would listen to like these long form interviews with doctors and stuff like that. And there was this one doctor, and it was the podcast was called London Real.
Okay.
Brian, I forget his name. He ran for mayor of London. And he's like a Tate guy, like, but he's like an MIT graduate, and he's like a very like he's not like a beta male.
Okay.
He's also not like an aggressive like Jason Momoa in every movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason Statham type thing.
Yeah. It was like a fucking kid.
Yeah.
And she was talking about trauma. And like I've really fixated on the trauma part of everything because it makes so much sense to me.
God, yeah.
And she said that, and I think I told you this on the phone, is that just the act of being born is traumatic. You're exploding out of a human being.
Absolutely.
No one can, like in any other situation in the world, you would never say that wasn't traumatic.
Yeah.
And then like and she used the examples of like when your mother goes to the store for the first time as a child, you don't know, you think you're being abandoned. You don't know what a store is.
Sure.
So that causes, things in your brain, neural pathways to start doing things that they're not supposed to be doing. And she said, when traumas happen, we have a choice. And the choice is, what did I learn from this, or how does this define me? And because she got out of the public health system and got in the private health system and started working with psychedelics and therapy. And the outcomes that she was having was not like, you take Prozac and you're like, oh, 12% of people are better. Right. It's like you take psychedelics, it's like 82%.
Right.
So like the results are undeniable.
Sure.
And that made me really curious and terrified at the same time. Yeah. But like, that's the fear. Most people behave the way they behave because they're afraid. And that's the ego. So when you talk about psychedelics and you say the death of the ego, it's all the fear-based stuff.
Right.
And that's the thing that I'm having such a hard time like, look, in my own life, it's difficult. It's always a journey. It's never like, oh, I'm fixed.
Yeah, sure.
You know, it's always
sure.
a thing that you do every day.
Sure.
And for a lot of people that I see who are going through these crises, whether it's physical or mental, there's no gratitude.
Right.
They're not like, oh my God, at least I'm not in North Korea or the gulag. And there's a lot of dads who don't know how to dad anymore.
Yeah, we lose perspective a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As human beings. And one of the trainers actually over at Crunch where I work out, she posted something to her story the other day, and it was her on like the stepper or Stairmaster or whatever.
Oh, the fake stairs?
Yeah. The fake stairs, which are brutal, by the way. And she,
because there's a resistance, right?
Well, they're just walking up a flight of steps where you're not actually getting anywhere for like exerted period of time.
It's Sisyphus. You're just pushing the thing up the hill.
Yeah. But and she put a caption of like, you know, people complain about after the leg days doing the Stairmaster, but you know, they don't realize what the person in the wheelchair wouldn't give to do that.
Sure.
You know, and I commented, and I was like, perspective, you know, like that's
absolutely
awesome. And you're right. You know, even like in sobriety, when I first got into sobriety, I heard the word.
I like how you get into that.
What's that?
I like how people say I got into it.
I got into sobriety.
Yeah, it's like new wave or when I first got into Christianity.
Sobriety's trendy these days.
It was trendy when I was a kid.
See, I thought it was just old guys in basements like reading the Bible and stuff.
No, like when I was 14, I had a lot of friends who were in AA and been to rehab, and I would go with them.
I didn't. Maybe I had the wrong group of friends. Well, no, my friends were sniffing white out and stuff. So, like, spray.
Who the fuck does that?
I mean, that was it, dude.
Hey, we got
spray
Pam
painting the inside of
the plastic bag.
and then huffing it.
Yep. Never got into that.
Oh, dude, I did that. That was white out was the first thing I ever sniffed in my life.
What got you into sniffing?
Somebody told me. I was at the Boys and Girls Club.
Who? Your enemy?
No. No, this kid who claimed to be a doctor.
A doctor?
Yeah. No, we were at the Boys and Girls Club.
You could huff it and correct mistakes.
Yeah. We were at the Boys and Girls Club, and this kid said like, oh, I forget how he even described it. He was like, you feel crazy when you do it or something like that. And I'm like, I want to feel crazy. So then I just started sniffing all this white out, and all that really happened is I just got a pounding headache. And then I got told on because my brother at the time was like, still my brother, but at the time, still my brother at the time. That was a great way to put it.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. But he is, being my brother was like afraid. So he went and told. So the dude that was running.
Should be, you're huffing white out.
Yeah, right. So, that was the first experience I actually ever had with sniffing.
How old were you?
Oh God, dude, I must have been 5th grade, 6th grade, maybe.
So what, like 10?
Yeah, 11 maybe.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And then, so the idea of like sobriety and recovery, I had it grouped in as this, bunch of old white guys in a basement, reading a Bible, chanting things. And I'm like, I'm not doing anything about that. You know what I mean? I don't want any part of that.
It's, I had a lot of experience with AA and rehab, and I never went to rehab, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it was like the mid 2000s. Penn and Teller had this show called Bullshit on Showtime.
Yeah.
And they would go through it was basically conspiracy theory stuff.
Okay.
You think this, we're going to try to prove or disprove this. And the one episode was about 12-step programs. And they dropped a piece of data that blew my mind, where it's like the recidivism rate, the relapse rate of people who go to rehab and AA is 97%.
Right.
And the people who just don't do that and just want to stop is 97%.
Yeah, you told me that. I remember
which made my brain go like, well, what is this? Yeah. Why is this?
Right.
Why are these problems happening? And why are certain people don't need it? And why do certain people need it? Mm-hmm. And do they necessarily need it? Or is it a mindset change or something like that? So when I was 30, it was 2010, August of 2010. That's when I got sober. Mm-hmm. And it was like August 8th, 2010, something. And then I remember I wanted to do the 90 and 90, mm-hmm. and I only made it about 2 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I went to a big book meeting.
Okay.
Did I tell you this?
No.
So I went to a big book meeting up in Clark Summit. My buddy was like...
Was it the KISS group?
No. It's supposed to be anonymous.
Oh, yeah. Damn it. That's why I'm not good at it.
So there was a guy there who was 92 years old, and he got sober when he was 17.
Yeah.
And it was a 2.5 hour big book meeting.
Sure.
And I walked out of that and that guy's like, wasn't that great? We'll go back. I said, I'm done. I'm not going to this again. Done, He goes, why? I said, because if I'm still bitching about the things that I did when I'm 92 years old, it's not the things that I did. It's me. Yeah. I need to fix me.
Yeah.
So I did like a 10-day self-sequester.
Okay.
And that's all I needed.
Yeah.
And so like the day after I quit drinking, I was in a bar. Because I wanted to know.
The day after?
The day after. So like August 8th, I quit. Do you know the Mays? From West Side?
Yeah.
You know
Eddie
Jay May?
Jay, yeah.
So they're my cousins
in
a weird way.
Yeah.
So Jay had this bar over on Jackson Street called The Lounge. It's my favorite bar in the country. In the country.
Yeah.
I lived in Florida. I lived in California. It was my favorite fucking bar in the country. And the next night I went down and I told all the West Side guys, I said, if you guys see me drinking, you have my permission to kick the shit out of me.
Okay.
And they all went, we're in. And then Jay's like, and Jay,
you mean West Side guys were all in for kicking the shit out of somebody?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
To quit drinking.
Yeah.
And which I thought was valiant, noble.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was, Jay's like, I got orange soda and ginger ale, man. That's all you need. And I was like, okay. And I was allowed to smoke.
Sure.
And that was it. And that's all I needed. And you know what the crazy thing is like a couple of days of doing that, there was a lot of people there who were my friends who would privately go like, I wish I could stop.
No, yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, you can. I just did it.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't you doing it?
Right.
And that's like, I think that like that psychopathy has a lot to do with addiction issues, gambling, just rumination stuff, like the hamster wheel that they can't get off of.
Yeah.
And like the thing that's like attractive about somebody like Andrew Tate is he empowers young men to take their life into their own hands.
Right.
You might not agree with like a lot of the things that he says, but that's up to him. He doesn't claim to be, the Messiah and the all-knowing truth of everything.
Some of the stuff it sounds like he does.
Well, look, I mean, at the end, like you'd want some. It's a drill instructor.
Yeah.
Would you want the drill instructor to baby you?
Well, no, but I think
you want him to protect you so you can live.
Yeah, and I think when you work with people. So it's like leadership, right? If you're a leader, you need to know how to motivate each person on your team in the specific way that motivates them, right? Because there are a lot of people that respond really well to the in your face screaming, get your shit together.
Sure.
There's some people that respond more from more compassionate way of doing things. There's some people that respond more from more of a strategic way of changing or doing things. So you're right. I mean, a guy like me, I respond well to somebody that's putting high demands on me because that's just kind of how.
Like what?
Like I set my own standards and goals in life, right? And the people close to me will often say that I set too unattainable, unrealistic standards for myself.
Aim for the stars, shoot for the moon.
Well,
you know what I mean?
And it's but like it's about balance. Like when do you cross that line where now all of a sudden you're chasing perfectionism to the point that you're becoming neurotic and self-limiting and damaging?
That's always been my fear.
It's tough to find that balance. You know what I mean? It's very, very difficult to kind of walk the line of as the Buddhists call it, the middle path, right? So you got 1 foot in, 1 foot out and everything like that. And, that's where when I work on goals with myself or clients or anything along those lines, I try to really drive home becoming process oriented versus goal oriented, right? Because when people hear the word goal, whenever I would sit down with somebody and try to work on goals with them, I'd say, okay, you hear the word goal, what do you think of? And they say like something I want to obtain or somewhere I want to be or someone I want to be or whatever the case may be. Life has its own way of doing things, right? And when people become attached to a goal, if they don't obtain that specific goal, they deem themselves a failure or I couldn't do it or I'm not good enough, whatever. It's the
whole victim thing. It's like,
well, yeah. And it can become very discouraging. So
absolutely.
In one way, you want to make sure, that from somebody that's on this side of the table working with a client, I want to make sure my clients are setting goals for themselves that they're capable of, right? Like they have to be capable of it. They have to be willing, obviously, but I don't want to put them in a position where they're going to burn themselves out either.
Right.
And the other thing is about breaking goals into sub goals, right? So I remember one of the very first treatment plans I did when I worked at an outpatient agency. I sat down with the guy. I said, okay, so it's 2-month period. Okay, so we're going to set this goal for yourself. We're going to get some objectives, some how-tos. You're going to achieve this goal, and then how I could support you in achieving that goal. And the first thing he said was, I want to get a bachelor's degree from college. And I said, okay, that's great, but you're not going to obtain that goal in 2 months. Okay. I said, so let's kind of reel it back a little bit. I said, when did you graduate high school? Well, I didn't. I said, okay. Do you have a GED? No. I said, okay, let's slowly paint this picture, right?
Yeah.
So your first 3 goals are going to be, I'm going to research where to find a GED course. I'm going to prepare, and I'm going to sign up for it, right? So those are your sub goals. These are your small wins, right? And every time somebody accomplishes a small win or a sub goal, they start to gain momentum, right? And once that momentum is gained and they're starting to see tangible results from the efforts they're putting in, they start to move forward and move forward. And
do you think there's like a dignity and a self-respect that they didn't know that they had there?
I think they develop it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a development. And it's about, like you had mentioned, empowerment. Right. So helping somebody cultivate that potential that they see within, that they may not see within themselves, that maybe I see within them. Right. So but shifting gears now, one of my favorite quotes, I use this quote all the time. It's a Mike Tyson quote. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. It's one of the best quotes I've ever heard in my life. Right. And out of all the quotes, I mean, I'm Marcus Aurelius and Eckhart Tolle and all these things. But it's so true because that quote translates to life perfectly.
Totally.
When I was a kid, my mother and my mother's still very, very religious, and she used to always tell me, if you want
religion,
I guess you'd call it Roman Catholicism, right? Okay. Like Jesus Christ, Son of God. Yeah. Church on Sunday, $100 a week of my paycheck to your church, and all that.
She does that.
She did. I mean, I don't think she gets to church as often anymore, but I mean, she is but my mom's cafeteria style. Sorry, Mom.
What does that mean?
Picks and chooses. Like, she's hardcore staunch Catholic, but then she's pro-choice. And I'm like,
isn't that a weird thing?
Very. It's unique and weird in a way, because like how are you saying you're this, but you're not? There's a uniqueness to that where you're kind of making it your own individual way. Right. But when I say cafeteria style, it's like, give me this, this.
And I'll ignore that shit.
Yeah, right. I don't want any of that stuff there. But she used to always say to me when I was a kid, she'd say, if you ever want to hear God laugh, tell him your plan. And that translates to that quote that Mike Tyson put. So you could have this goal set for yourself, and you could put in effort, and you could put in the work, and you could overcome some obstacles, and life comes through and says, nope, sorry, this is where we're going. Now, what do you do? Right? So when you become process oriented versus goal oriented, you find fulfillment and you find the reward within the effort you put in to obtaining the goal. So if you don't obtain said goal, what did you gather in the process of that? And what did that turn you into, and how did you develop? This is stuff like Tom Brady, Kobe Bryant, Tiger Woods. This is how they operate. They operate on, I have this excellent picture. I used to have it when I was at the agency I worked at. I used to have this picture on my wall. And there's neurological science-based evidence to support dopamine and rewiring the mesolimbic dopamine system in the brain behind this. So I had this picture of Brady, who's my favorite athlete of all time, Kobe Bryant, who's my second favorite athlete of all time, and then Tiger Woods, who's one of my favorite athletes. And it's only a picture of their eyes. So it's all three of them, their eyes. And I used to tell people, look in their eyes. Like, these guys have a look in their eyes normal people don't have, right?
Okay.
And the story I used to tell with Kobe was, it was in 2000 when he was playing the Sixers in the NBA Finals. And this is after Kobe had passed away. People were telling stories about him. So one of the players from the 76ers was out there talking, like having an interview, and he was saying, we showed up to, I think they played at the Staples Center or somewhere out in California. He said, we showed up, and he said it was like 6:30 in the morning, day of the game. We had to go in and get taped and this and that or whatever. He said, we get to the stadium, and Kobe's on the corner of the court shooting 3-point shots, covered in sweat. So they go back to the trainers and they're talking to them. They're like, yeah, Kobe's been here since 4:30 this morning. He comes in every single morning and he shoots like 1,000 shots from around the entire perimeter. And he's got to make 1,000 shots from around the perimeter, right? So then they get done getting taped up. They're leaving. Kobe's in the weight room. They come back a couple hours later doing like walkthrough type stuff. Kobe's working with the trainers and all this, that. The point was, Kobe cared more about the process than he did about the championships, right? He loved those 4:30 a.m. workouts more than he loved wrapping his arms around a title. And Tom Brady, one of the best interviews Tom Brady ever had, he was still with the Patriots at the time, and I think he had won 5 Super Bowls at this point. And the lady interviewing him said, you won 5 Super Bowls. Which one was your favorite one? Like, there has to be one that like really sticks out at you. And he said, the next one.
Right.
The next one. He didn't care what he accomplished. It was the day in, day out process, the effort, the meticulous detail that they placed on everything they did. Tiger Woods learned golf from the inside out. The last thing he learned how to do in golf was how to drive a ball, 250, 300. He learned from putting, the most important elements of the game. So these guys focus more on the process than they did on the outcome. And subsequently, they become so successful at what they do. And they rack up all these titles and these championships because they are meticulous about the everyday consistency process.
Would that be more in normal people world? Would that be a routine?
Yeah, right. But here's
like get up, make your bed,
yes,
take a shower, eat the right food, go to the gym,
right,
start your day, do this at night.
And again, it would be dependent on what your goals are in life.
Totally. But I mean, to be like totally like well-rounded and healthy.
Yeah.
Like there's it's incredible how much pharmaceuticals you don't need if you just have like a good routine.
Yeah. Right.
Or, it's the Matthew McConaughey, like, I just try to sweat once a day. You know what I mean?
Whatever that dude's doing, it's working.
Yeah, he just seems really joyful.
Yeah, he loves his life.
Yeah.
I guess when you're a millionaire, it's a little.
I think he was like that before that, man.
He probably was.
He's very laissez-faire.
He's probably that character he had in Dazed and Confused was probably really him growing up. Just like,
you know what I like about high school girls? The older I get, they all stay the same age.
Yeah. Classic one-liners. But yeah, you're right. It does have to do with routine, but you had mentioned this earlier about behaviors. And I agree with you a lot of what you said, how much fear plays a role in why we do what we do. But you have to look at rewards too. Rewards play a significant role in why people do what they do in life. And it all has to do with habits, right? So I had this conversation with my 12-year-old just a few days ago, right? She hates school. She hates the schoolwork. She hates the homework.
She go to public school?
Yeah, she goes to the
that's
intermediate. Yeah.
That's why she doesn't like it.
Yeah. But now, conflicting all this, she gets great grades. She makes honor roll. She's just doing the open house for that STEM program down in at the Scranton High School for next year. It's that science, technology,
engineering, mathematics.
Yeah, and medical. Yeah.
Is it medical or mathematics?
It's both. It's
okay.
2 M's. Yeah. So and you have to be accepting it. I think they only accept 60 kids per
There's
year
not a
or
lot
something like that. No. It's like it's supposed to be like Scranton school districts.
I've told school directors in the past, I'm like, don't use that as the crown of your thing when only like 1% of your kids can go to that.
But they said, this is what they said, that like 120, 130 kids apply and they only accept 60, So like
there's 10,000 kids in the Scranton school district.
Yeah,
that's
they're making it like an elite club. There's definitely,
I have my opinions about public school.
Listen, I'm with you. Well, anyway, so going back to it, so I'm on the phone with her, and it's the same conversation over and over. It's like, I hate school, teachers suck, and I hate doing the classwork, I hate doing the homework. And I said to her, I was like, do you think it's possible you don't like doing the work because you're not obtaining any type of reward from it?
Well, is she not being challenged? She might be one of those kids who is just really, really sharp and gets it.
Yeah.
And it's just like this monotonous repetition of stupid concepts that she already understands.
It could be that. I don't think it is with her. It could be that.
But you're a kid. What the fuck do I know?
But people do things that are rewarding. And the reason they do them is because it is fulfilling. Now, those rewards may not be beneficial to us in our lives. Those rewards may be maladaptive. Those rewards may be destructive, right? That's what we see, like addiction to substances or gamblings or behaviors or anything like that. But why we do what we do is to achieve a reward. Now, what is that reward? Usually it's some type of a feeling, right? So how does a habit loop work? A habit loop works with a trigger, a routine, and a reward. Okay, so you're triggered to do something. Your routine is how you go about obtaining the reward. Now, the reward is something that's happening inside of our brain, right? So it's either an increase in certain neurotransmitters, or it's a suppression of certain neurotransmitters, or whatever the case may be. And those neurotransmitters create a cascade of hormones that create our feelings.
Right.
So maybe I want to feel something, or maybe I don't want to feel something, right? But that's the reward. And where it gets really dangerous is, as human beings, we associate everything, right? Our brain is a giant association machine. So we may see a substance or a behavior and say that makes me feel good. But what we're losing sight of is what's making me feel good is already happening inside my brain. This chemical or this behavior is just my association with it. Now, especially when it comes to pharmaceuticals and any type of substance that crosses the blood-brain barrier at a high rate, there's going to be like a chemical restraint happening. So I'm not saying that, certain chemicals or substances don't have the power to increase, like methamphetamine. Nothing spikes dopamine like methamphetamine.
That's why the Nazis took it.
Yeah. Oh, did you ever see those videos of like Hitler when he was at like the Olympics and he was like chewing his ear and stuff? Yeah. And I was like, holy shit, dude, that guy, I've seen that look. I know that look, man. I know that dude's just not drinking a lot of coffee.
Yeah.
But anyways, so really when you look at addiction or anything, it's a matter of reward. So why do people change, or why do people not change? Right? Because they do the things they want to do because they're seeking and obtaining a reward. And how passionate and how fulfilled you are while doing it plays a role in how strong it is. So my kid could sit there and say, I can't, do homework for 20 minutes because it sucks. I hate it. I'm procrastinating. I don't want to do it. But she could sit on Roblox with her friends for 6 hours.
This is why I don't believe in ADD.
And not more. I mean, there's a lot to say about ADD too. Yeah, you're right.
That started coming around when I was in high school.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I remember they put me on what was it?
Ritalin?
It was Ritalin.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me tired.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then I was like, I got off of it. I was probably like 15 and I got off of it maybe by the time I was 16 because it just wasn't valuable. I've been a pharmaceutical pincushion from like 15, from like 14 to 30.
Right.
And I thank God I'm now finally off everything.
Sure.
But this is one of the reasons why I have a problem with public school is like not one size fits all. You can't have like these ADD kids that what they perceive as ADD. If they find something they like, they are laser focused.
Dude. Yes.
So why are we saying they have attention problems when on certain things that they're interested in, they're laser focused?
You're absolutely correct. And when you look at the DSM-5 and you look at the
DSM-4 one day.
Oh, I could only imagine. I've seen like usually so every 15 to 20 years it changes.
Yeah.
Some of the original ones, like if you look back in, I think it was the 60s, homosexuality was in the DSM as a sexual deviance. So it was like classified as like a disorder at that time as well. I mean,
I have no problem with anybody who's like an adult and wants to do whatever they want to do.
Right.
Religiously, people look at it as a thing. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
I never gave a fuck.
Right.
I always let your freak flag fly, whatever that is. Yeah. I don't care. They have to put something in there to explain something. Like whatever the explosion is in the last like 10 years, that might be some sort of disorder. Like the whole like trans stuff and everything.
Yeah.
And it might be, a lot of it might be like, because I've really looked into this because like, I don't think, like, because what if we're wrong? Do you know what I mean? Like, what if we're wrong?
Yeah.
And I'd really hate to be the person who like accepted a lot of those things and could be wrong.
So think about how you're saying that. In the 60s.
Are you gonna analyze me right now?
No, not necessarily.
No, you should.
I
welcome it.
I'm on full analyzer mode anyways.
Yeah, you have alpha and Zin in your face. Yeah.
And this is all.
Yeah, analyze me. Go for it. Yeah.
In the 1960s, someone may have been sitting around a podcast, but somebody may have been two guys might have been sitting around saying the same thing about homosexuality. Now, fast forward 40, 50 years later to where most people, barring, strict religious beliefs, most people are pretty accepting, open to whatever it is. Like
I think the perception and the history of it is a fallacy. And here's why.
Of what?
Let's just use homosexuality. Okay. Just the perception of it.
Okay.
My grandparents, Italian and the one side's Italian, the one side's Irish.
Okay.
They fucking hate each other.
Sure.
Right? Just culturally.
Sure.
Right? But they were always like, it's like that Mick bastard or that guinea prick, whatever.
Yeah.
But they were always like, they liked each other. But they would say those things.
Okay.
They had gay friends.
Okay.
It was just something that was just like, Pete down the street and his roommate.
Yeah.
But there was never violence or hatred. So like, that is something that has existed throughout human existence. And for some reason now, we focus on it. Where I'm just like living
with
live.
homosexuality in particular, or are you talking about now these
like that,
lifestyles?
just that.
Okay. Because I feel like over the last 15 to 20 years, now
it's been ratcheted up, I think, for reasons.
Well, but here's what you have to also take into consideration here. You got two. Well, I mean, I know myself. I'm assuming, but two heterosexual men sitting here at the table together.
Just not on Sundays,
yeah, right? I can't throw those assumptions out because I don't know how you live your life. But
I'm pretty straight.
Okay, so two heterosexual men who have never experienced what it feels like, what it's been like, what the things were like, having these conversations. So it's kind of easier.
When I was, how old are you?
38.
Okay, so I got like 8 years on you, maybe? No, 6. No, 5, 3, 2, 7. Public school math.
Oh yeah. You weren't in the STEM program.
We would have these conversations with our gay friends.
Okay.
And it was never crazy.
They never experienced. No. Okay.
No. It was never the stuff that like, I think what happens is like, because of the world we live in, like the media and now with social media, which is just overload.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the things that happen on the periphery become amplified as to truth.
Okay.
So when I was a huge advocate for gay marriage, right? And there was two views on it for me. One of them is, let everyone be as miserable as everyone else, right?
Fair.
And the other one was, yes, because if we allow that, then there is no more oppression.
Okay.
Because like the Black community had made great strides. And then I was like, okay, well, the last community that needs to be treated as equal with everyone else is the gay community. And then in 2008, 2009, the Supreme Court said that gay marriage is legal. And I was like, all right, great. No more oppression.
Yeah.
And I was grateful because I'm like, oh, here's this new horizon for us as a country to be like, we don't have to fucking worry about that anymore.
Right.
And then all of a sudden there was innumerable genders added, innumerable ways to say that people are being oppressed or treated unkindly. And I started to think about that going like, well, how the fuck did that happen?
Yeah.
Why is all of a sudden everybody focusing on those things?
It's almost like how much more do you want type thing. Like,
it's not how much more that you want. They just made shit up.
Right.
And I don't think it was the gay community. I think people think I'm a crazy person, but like there is a moment in time where like all the trans stuff just ended up skyrocketing to this place where it's like all we talk about. Like there was polls, the New York Post, the New York Times in like 1999 did like this poll, and they walked all around New York and they asked all the Black people, like, are race relations better today than they were in the 60s? And it was like 97% was like, yeah, today's great compared to the 60s.
Yeah, look at the comparison. I mean,
yeah, but how do we end up being everyone's more racist and more homophobic when we were all already accepting it?
Well,
like, and I'm just saying that because like there's a big thing to be said about perception.
Sure.
There's a big thing to be said about like how things are presented to people. Sure. Right. You have a lot more empathy for people when your heart's involved.
Yeah.
And I think that like over the last 20 years, it's been this thing where it's like, it's all we can focus on. All we can focus on now is race and sexuality. And it's the weirdest thing in the world because most countries, when they hit that moment, that's when they fall.
Yeah, and I think they're what do they call it? Trigger words or buzzwords?
Those are things that are all those, just like you said before. It's marketing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
they're saying these things that it's like these marketing terms that make us it's supposed to invoke an emotion in us, right? So if you say like oppression or this or that, like in your head, like you're immediately associating it with all of these terrible things throughout history that have happened.
Yeah,
and you're assuming that that's what's happening now.
Right. Yeah, and like you said, they evoke emotion, you know. And I had a conversation with my brother not too long ago about Medicaid.
I like your brother very much, by the way.
Dude, I like my brother too. He's a pretty good dude.
Yeah, I don't know if he likes me, but I like him very
well,
much.
He's as passionate, you know,
sure.
is, and I respect that, and I think that's a great thing. But specifically, we were having this conversation, and you know, the majority of the clients I work with now are on Medicaid, and we were talking about, you know, the Trump administration slashes or cuts or whatever. And dude, I don't pay attention to politics, right or wrong. I just don't. It doesn't do anything.
It's never interested you.
Yeah, it doesn't interest me. The
same reason why you don't care which maxi pad is the best one.
Exactly. Yeah, it has really nothing to do with me.
You don't care.
Like, you'll talk to people like my brother, and they'll be like, "No, it has everything to do with you." And
there's some that say that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just choose to be blissfully ignorant, right? And actually, it's funny because he says the only time you ever vote is when Sean McAndrew's running for something. I'm like, yeah, because Sean's my boy, and I'm always going to help Sean. But
he's doing a great job right now.
Yeah,
by the
he's
way.
Awesome, dude. So, but anyways, he was talking about the Medicaid cuts, and he said, Kyle, he's like, how are you not outraged? He's like, you know, set aside human beings not having health coverage. He goes, your primary income is on state Medicaid. He's like, you're going to be losing that. He's like, why are you not outraged? And I said, because I don't want to be outraged.
It's a choice.
Yes. I just do not want, I don't want to live my life outraged. And when you see a lot of these videos of rallies and protests and so on and so forth, and these people, I mean, again, you see passion, but you kind of see like, why?
Yeah, but there's like a rage there.
Yeah, it goes beyond passion. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah, it's not like, hey, we should really change the street name to this because it would be the right thing to do, as opposed to like, fuck everyone. Yeah, and
right.
You're like, whoa.
Right, that's just like too much. And and that's what I told him. I said, I choose not to be outraged, you know? And that's, again, like a lot of the work I do with my clients is letting people understand, like, hey, you have a choice in how you feel, right? You don't have a choice sometimes in the circumstances that happen to you. You don't have no choice.
You have no choice in the things that, like, somebody said you have a choice in how you receive things.
Or perceive. That's what I would bubble that up.
Oh, man, I was going to touch that, and now it's all fucking gross.
In there.
There you go. I was thinking about getting an alpha.
Yeah. By all means. Oh, you're going to be wired, bro.
Huh?
You're going to be wired now.
Now I got to go back to Colombia for all that cocaine. If this makes me start hiccuping or going crazy, I'm not doing it anymore.
I mean, I feel like it shouldn't, but I'm not a doctor.
I've never done it in my life, so now it's in my. And you do it the same way as the Zins, right?
Same thing, yeah, same thing.
So,
yeah. But the perceiving of things, yeah, like receive or perceive.
Well, like I've always.
Well, here's the other thing. Our eyes take in information, and it sends a signal and a message to the brain, and we tie usually an emotional association to that.
Yeah, but do you believe in energy?
Oh, absolutely. Everything's energy.
Okay, but do you believe in like the unseen energy,
frequencies and things like that?
Yeah, like the best way, the sea level example that I can give to people is like, do you ever walk into a room and there's no reason why you should feel a certain way?
Absolutely.
And you feel almost like a dread,
absolutely,
or a fear or something like that. I think that's something that like we, as if you want to call humans a species, have always been capable of that, and we've been told not to listen to it.
Well, would you call it like your gut instinct?
Whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. And I so like, it's hard to have like discourse. Like, I think I have good energy. I think like anybody can talk to me about anything. I just can't talk to, anybody can talk to me about anything. I can't talk to anybody about anything.
Okay.
Or certain people. Like we were talking about the rage before. And I find it like I'm not like people that think like me are not. I don't even know why I'm now making it about me, but for some reason I thought about it.
That's a human behavior 101, my friend.
I wish no ill will on anyone. Like people who do evil things, I wish ill will on them.
Okay,
but that doesn't mean that I'm the guy that gets to
be the one that's
like, okay, your punishment is from me.
Sure.
You know, that's if you believe, your mom would say that's up to God.
Yeah, right.
My hope is just to help them understand. My hope is to help them, understand me, because that's what it's all about. Like, because we all disagree on a lot of things, right? Because everybody's like a little bit of the Venn diagram.
Yeah,
they overlap in certain places, and you got to know where you don't and where you do. But I don't especially with somebody like in your journey, where you're trying to be a better person, which is the goal. Like that's you're not going to attain the thing. It's like you said, it's about the process.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to be like, oh, that was the thing that I finally did that'll get me into heaven.
Sure.
It's about the journey along the way and sticking with it. You know, and you're going to hit roadblocks and you're going to hit all this shit, which is why, like, I'm so grateful for people like you to be in the world, because you take away, it's not about the things that we're told it's supposed to be. Like, you're doing the things where it's like mind and body, which is to me is way more valuable than like who's being oppressed, who's the politician that you like, who's any of that. Because at the end of the day, like, most of it doesn't affect us.
Right.
But the mind and body stuff is the stuff that really fucking matters.
Yeah.
I think that's way more important. I think what you're doing is way more important than like political discourse or like what TV shows or sports teams or any of that stuff.
Sure. And like even you said earlier, like, I just want people to understand, or I would, you know, that's really one of the main issues we have in this world, are people are unwilling to understand someone else.
Walk a mile.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They don't, again, sit down.
What is this aftertaste?
Probably chemicals.
It tastes like beefy or something. What the fuck is this?
Beefy? Definitely not. Maybe it's a vegetable glycerin that's in here.
What is it?
It is.
It's like roast beefy.
No, I definitely don't get roast beef. But I mean, you have the taurine, the caffeine, the guarana, the
I'm immediately
L-tyrosine.
Just because I'm doing this, I'm now gonna have like bone cancer. Thanks.
Alpha GPC. No, I really don't think.
Did you ever look these things up?
Yeah. Well, I mean, most of it's amino acids.
What the fuck?
Just flip.
Well, those are the things, and those are the things that they're trying to get rid of now. They don't want to be able to have people doing it.
Well, that's insane. First of all, well, I mean, like, are you talking about like the peptide argument, or
yeah? Why would we not do those things?
So
Do you pay attention to Brigham Bueller?
Who?
Brigham Bueller.
No, I don't know.
Ways to Well. Did you ever hear of Ways to Well?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I got to school you on that.
Yeah. Send me anything you want. Yeah,
he's great.
Well, the peptide thing is relatively new, mainstream wise, right?
I'm happy you clarified that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've been using peptides on people with HIV and muscular dystrophy and muscle wasting diseases for years. Right?
And they're all like basically naturally occurring things.
They're long chain amino acids.
Yeah.
That's all they are.
Can you explain it? Can you explain an amino acid?
Well, an amino acid is a chemical compound that essentially aids in the assisting of tissue.
But your body makes those anyways, right?
Your body makes them. So like your essential amino acids, you really need them, right? Through supplementation, because most of the time they're not naturally occurring and you can't get them through dietary, or most people don't get them through dietary. So essential amino acids are excellent for supplementation. Branched chain amino acids, they're kind of like, do I really need to supplement marketing it, or can I just eat a steak, right? But yeah, you're right. Amino acids are naturally occurring within the body.
In other words, not made by some pharmaceutical company or...
Well, right. But now when you get into peptides, they are. This is when they're...
So what's the difference between an amino acid and a peptide?
Peptides are amino acids. They're long-chain amino acids. So, but this is where you get in the difference between endogenous and exogenous. So endogenous is anything that's naturally occurring within the body, to where exogenous is when you...
External.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So okay, for instance, like hormone therapy, testosterone for men. Obviously you naturally produce testosterone as a man in your body. That's endogenous. Once you start using synthetic testosterone, now it becomes exogenous, right? So you're supplementing. Let me rephrase this. If you're doing, as a man, testosterone replacement therapy, you are essentially supplementing what your body's now deficient in due to decrease in production.
And that happens like as you age. Like women lose estrogen, men lose testosterone.
The testosterone decrease argument, or discussion, I should say, is multifaceted, right? So I have read articles that men produce, even at their peak years, almost 50% less testosterone than they did in the 50s, right? So now we invite in the chemicals, the plastics,
the environmental the food toxins.
Correct. Yes, exactly. So does that play a role in it, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, because they're endocrine disruptors. That's
yes.
what these things are. Perfumes, soaps, I mean, deodorants, right? Like,
how much toxic soup are we swimming in so that we can avoid being healthy?
Well, and that's what I'm like, I think to myself, like, I do all this shit in my life. I buy my eggs off of a guy who owns chickens. I only buy organic. I drink electrolytes. I supplement properly to certain deficiencies I have. And it's like, is it really making a difference? A who knows, right?
Well, I mean, I think it'll be less sick.
Oh yeah, and I think it'll increase the quality of my life as
Absolutely.
well. You know what I mean? But anyways, so with testosterone specifically for men, one of the reasons testosterone starts to decrease as a man is because cortisol increases in larger amounts more consistently throughout the course of your adult life. So now think about this. When you're 20, and again, I'm not talking about every individual. I'm talking about just generalists, like statistically speaking. When you're in your early 20s, you know, you essentially don't have a lot of responsibilities, you know, get to class on time or maybe get to my part-time job or whatever. And then as you get older and older and older, you start to acquire more and more responsibilities in your life. And with more responsibilities, oftentimes comes more stress. So the stress is that cortisol, right? So as cortisol increases throughout the body consistently, right? That's what we have to look at. Because this is, I mean, dude, I've read some really interesting stuff on cancer and stress.
Me too.
Yeah, and how they correlate. And, fight or flight, the sympathetic nervous system, it's an extremely important system, if you will, in our body, right? We need cortisol, we need norepinephrine, we need adrenaline, we need these chemicals essentially for survival purposes, but we don't need them all the time. And that's what happens. So when I used to work with clients and I would explain to them about a hyperactive sympathetic nervous system or a high sympathetic tone, I would give them the example of the differences between acute stress and chronic stress. So acute stress would be, my example was,
somebody pulls a gun at a party.
Yeah, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Well, I used to use the bear. So I used to say, you're taking your garbage out at nighttime and you throw your garbage away and now there's an 800-pound black bear staring at you.
Right.
You need fight or flight in that moment because, what those chemicals do is help maintain homeostasis within the body, right? So you need that, because think about it, all the blood sugar in your body would be evaporated into the muscles at one time and you would essentially pass out and fall over.
Right.
So these stress hormones help to counterbalance all that. So that's acute stress. We need that to survive. That's an intrinsic part of our biology, right? Now we shift gears and we look at chronic stress. So chronic stress is when that 800-pound black bear lives between your ears, right? Right. So your body is not understanding that bear is not staring you in the face. So it's secreting cortisol. And what is chronic stress for most people? Again, it's loosely defined for most people. Paying my bills, I got to pay my mortgage, I got to pay I have to deal with my asshole boss, I got to, the kids are driving me nuts, it's the girlfriend's breaking up, all these things.
Yeah.
So we have this 800-pound black bear,
24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
And all that the body's is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, which is responding to the threat. But the threat doesn't exist in reality.
It's so interesting that you say that because I'll bring it back to psychedelics.
Yeah.
So, and I never thought about it this way. Because it just didn't make sense to me, but now it does. So somebody said, because I advocate very highly for people to at least, even if you're feeling good, go take a hero's journey in a perfect setting intention with psychedelics.
Right. That intention's so important.
Right. And then I was in a conversation with a group of people and somebody was saying I'm afraid, I don't want to do that because I'm afraid of all the old stuff that'll come up and the things that have traumatized me and whatever. And somebody said, the crazy thing about that is every time you think about those things, it's like they're happening again.
Absolutely.
All the chemicals in your body are acting in the way as if that moment is happening again. Mm-hmm. Every time you think about it, that moment is happening again.
Yeah. And people don't realize, that's absolutely correct. And people don't realize that the healing is going back into the fire.
Correct. And that's the thing about psychedelics, because it's so they ended it with saying you've already survived the things that you're worried about.
Sure.
So to just address them,
sure, you
shouldn't be afraid of that because you've already been through the fire.
So check this out. This is one of my favorite analogies to use with people when it comes to fear. Okay. So in those cases, like you were saying, if somebody's afraid to re-encounter traumatic experiences in their life, that fear is designed to quote unquote protect them, right? Mm-hmm. So there was a book written by Michael Singer. It's called The Untethered Soul. And it gave me one of the best analogies I ever heard of when it comes to fear, because as you had mentioned with that psychedelic experience, if you return to the fire and you heal, you're free.
Yes.
So now check this out. And for most people, I try to make it practical, right? So imagine you have a dog and you put a dog collar around one of those shock collars around the dog, and you stick up the invisible fence in the yard, and you open the door and you let that dog run out. So that dog runs out to the yard. He's charging, boom, hits the collar, zapped, backs away, takes it to the other direction, hits the fence, boom, zapped. Other direction, boom, zapped. 2-3 more times, that dog starts to realize, don't go there. That hurts. I can't possibly go near there, right? What that dog doesn't realize is if he could get through that initial blast in pain,
he's home free.
He's completely free.
Yep.
And that's what I think people don't understand about that fear. Use fear to your advantage. If fear presents itself in this type of context and setting, that means it's telling you that there's something there, right? It's a warning you, hey, something's there, don't go there. But what it's not telling you is if you go through it, you're free. And fear often works very much analogy-wise like fire. So fire, one of the primary fuel sources or power sources of fire is oxygen. You give fire more oxygen, it becomes more ferocious and more damaging and more deadly.
Yeah.
So I compare fear and fire, and I tell people the primary catalyst fuel source for fear is time. Time is to fear what oxygen is to fire. The more time you give fear, the more ferocious and powerful it becomes. If you want to take fear out of the equation, you cut its primary fuel source, which is time. And think about like when you're a kid, you're sitting in front of the pool and it's like, oh, I want to jump in, but it's cold. Blah, blah. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes goes by. And all of a sudden you're like, I'm not going in that pool.
Yes.
Unless you're the kid that's like, fuck it, I'm jumping in. Because then you jump in and guess what? You feel great. You feel amazing.
Yeah. There's like 6 seconds of like, oh, that's cold.
Yeah. And then it's
over.
Fun. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you understanding that you could use fear to your advantage, see it and say, hey, something's going on there. Again, contextually speaking.
How did you use fear to your advantage?
Now or sober? Then? What do you mean?
Well, I mean, like just getting.
I didn't use
getting
fear.
Off the nonsense and focusing on yourself and your health and your well-being.
Well, for the majority of my life, fear used me. Because I did the exact opposite of what I just explained to you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How did you fucking flip the script and literally change your mindset?
I just talked about this on another podcast I was on.
Brian DiMatteo?
Brian DiMatteo or DiMatteo. I don't know how you pronounce his last name.
Yeah,
Food Fight. Yeah. I had talked about this on that.
I had him on here before. He's a great guy.
Did you? Yeah, he's a character, man. He's definitely a character. When I got sober, the specific time, the day that I decided to get sober.
When's this? What year?
2018.
Okay.
It was August 31st. Yeah, because my sobriety.
Oh, you and I are August guys.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
The very last. So I technically consider September. So I'm sorry.
All right.
I jumped on the other side.
Well, then fuck you.
Yeah. We got our own jackets in September. But no. So what I did was I just intrinsically understood I don't want to live like this anymore.
Did you hit like I had the moment where it was, I'm not like that to I don't want to be like that.
In like continuing using or drinking or whatever. Yeah. I just knew that I had this understanding that I didn't have a drug problem. I didn't have an alcohol problem. I had drug and alcohol solutions to my problems.
Right.
Like I knew when I tell the story, when I went to treatment, I completely, when they talk about like an AA and treatment surrender, I surrendered to life. Like I gave up fighting life. I didn't give up the like, I'm just not going to do drugs anymore. It's like, no, somebody teach me how to be a human being now. Somebody teach me how to properly live life because I'm fighting life and it's not working for me.
Why do you think you were fighting it?
I think it had a combination with a lot of things, so even when you first sat down today here and we were talking about, experiences and things and trauma, I think one of the.
I mean, we don't have to be specific about like things. That happen.
I know, dude. I'm an open book, man. I don't care about anything.
I just took a 12-pound shit today. I sent you a picture of it.
Well, you were just like, so tell me about that traumatic experience you had when you were 3 years old.
Yeah, I don't want to. No. But it's like I think people like one of the things that like hopefully like people can get out of like conversations like this is being like, oh, I never looked at it that way.
Yeah,
or I never thought about it that way.
So again, we go back to that trauma, and I agree with what you said. Think about a baby in the womb, right? you're being pulled from your environment, this warm, cozy little sack, and thrusted into this world. That is highly traumatic, right? I think there's another more insidious form of trauma that happens in a person's life in the form of human conditioning. And human conditioning really happens in those early developmental childhood years. And human conditioning essentially is when you lose who you are and you become who I tell you you are.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So I use the example. Well, let me go into human conditioning a little more. So, you have these, past infancy stage, 3, 4, 5 years old. And now you're being told by parents or caregivers, this is what good boys do, or this is what bad boys do.
You're programming.
Yes. You're being bad. You're being bold. You're bad. You're not smart, or whatever, or positive too. It's not always, the negatives, right? Hopefully every situation is different. I always tell people when I work with them, like when you throw abuse and neglect on it, that's a whole nother can of worms that needs to get cracked open. But we're talking about, your traditional form of conditioning here. So you get programmed, like you had mentioned, from a very young age that this is who you are. So an example I would use was, if my little daughter, she's 3 years old, if she comes up to me in the store and she has a candy bar and she says, I want this. And I say, no, you can't have it. Well, how does most, 3-year-olds, how do they respond?
But I want it.
Yeah. Well, they start tantruming, right?
Yeah.
They start crying. I see it every day with my 3-year-old. It's crying like the end of the world, right?
You should dose her.
Oh, yeah. Come here. Give her here mescaline. yeah. So
see you in 8 hours, kid.
yeah. So how does a parent or caregiver typically respond? Stop it. You're being bad. Put it away. It's not the end of the world. That no abuse happening there. It's a parent, right? But the message I'm sending to that child and the message that child is receiving are two different messages. What the child is hearing is, I'm bad because I feel bad. My feelings are bad. I'm bad because I'm expressing them. The things that are important to me are not important, and I need to stop, right? So this is the messaging that a child is hearing. And
okay, I'm with you.
Another quick example. My oldest daughter, a few years ago, I was helping her tie her shoes.
Keep talking. I think the camera died.
You're good. So I was helping her tie her shoes, and she might have been, I don't know, say like 10 years old or something like that at the time, or 9 years old. And I know she's capable of tying her shoes. And that's the message I'm trying to relate to her is like, hey, listen, you could do this. So she's becoming frustrated. She's becoming angry. I'm getting frustrated now because she's getting frustrated. But why am I frustrated? I'm frustrated because I know she's capable of doing it. She's frustrated because it's not getting done. So, then as like any normal human being, I start raising my voice. I start getting short-tempered and this, that, and the other. So we get done, and she finally tied her shoe. And I went up to her and I said, Kennedy, do you know why Daddy was getting upset? And she said, because I wasn't tying my shoe. That's not why Daddy was getting upset. Daddy was getting upset because I knew you could do it. You didn't believe that you could do it. So the message she received when I was getting upset was, Daddy's upset because I'm not tying my shoes. Versus Daddy's upset because you're not exercising your true capability.
Well, did you change? Was that profound for you?
I'll tell you another profound moment I had with my daughter when I first got sober too. That actually in a second. I'm glad you brought that up because I haven't told this story in a while. But no, because I had already understood this at this point. That's why I had the conversation with her, right? When we're adults and parents in particular, parenting is one of the hardest jobs in the world. And there is no rule book. I always say, as long as you're not being maliciously, abusive to your child, you're doing the best you can with what you have to work with, right? We go back to that conditioning. You raise your children typically the way your parents raised you because it becomes a cycle of conditioning. So going back to that candy bar story, so now the child starts to adopt this belief that when I feel bad, it's bad. I'm bad because I express my feelings. So children tend to learn how to compartmentalize and suppress.
So it connects all those things into one thing.
Right. So,
okay.
So now you do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. And by the time a child's usually between, 7 to 10 years old, they become now that pre-programmed, fully downloaded hard drive.
Yeah.
And now they are no longer who they are. They are who you've told them they are. Like when you keep telling a little boy, he's a bad kid, he's a bad kid, he's a bad kid, and then he becomes a bad kid. Why do you think? You infiltrated his belief system because he trusts you into believing he's bad. So he's going to respond and do the things that he believes are bad. So that's really...
So if everyone thinks I'm an asshole, I'm just going to be an asshole.
If everyone keeps telling me I'm an asshole, eventually I'm going to start to believe it.
Right.
At these early ages, these very, very influential developmental ages.
Yep.
So now this is where I say like one of the earliest forms of trauma happens is when we lose that authenticity to who we are and we now become who you tell me I am. And that's one of the truest, most insidious forms of trauma that a human being experiences. Because by the time I would get a lot of clients that come to me 25, 35, 45 years old, one of the first conversations that I would have with them, I'd sit down with them, I'd say, who are you? And they'd start listing off characteristics.
They don't know who they are.
No. But that's the kicker. When they finally get to the point, so they'd say like, you and I'd sit down and be like, well, who are you? I'm Mark. Well, okay, no, that's your name. That's a name that was given to you. That's not telling me who you are. And it's like, oh, I do podcasts and I do videos. I'm like, no, those are characteristics and responsibilities and roles you have. That's not who you are. And it's like, well, I'm a parent. I'm like, again, that's a role you have. Like, that's not who you are. And eventually they get to the point, they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
Now we could start work, right? So helping identify who they are as a human being and who they are as an energy or an entity or whatever you want to call it, right? But when it comes to parenting, I believe the responsibility is on the parent to understand what your child is understanding. So you got to bring yourself to their level and you got to be able to communicate with them in a way that you're hearing what they're hearing. Because when I tell my kid, put the candy bar away, it's not the end of the world. I'm a 38-year-old man that's saying like, dude, there's so many other things going on in the world. That candy bar is not a big deal.
Yeah.
But to that little kid, that candy bar is the whole world. Like that's their
in that
whole
moment,
world.
totally.
Correct. Yeah. So you could really do a lot of emotional. And again, this isn't like chaining your kid to the radiator type shit. This is like you could do a lot of abuse, not even intentionally knowing you're doing it.
Is there
Don't let me forget about that story. Though.
Tell it right now.
All right. So
I asked you about being profound.
Yeah. So
because like in that moment, because I watch people parent, and look, we don't have kids yet, me and my wife.
Mm-hmm.
And you always say like, the reason my wife is my wife is because I saw everyone else's relationship.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, here's all the things to not do.
Yes.
And here's all like the honesty and the communication that we should have and,
sure.
and blah, blah, blah. And then I watch like my friends raise their kids and blah, blah, and I'm like, man, I sit back and I watch the kid.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start to understand things where I'm like, oh, they took it this way or they took it that way. And look at the mom or the dad's on the phone and they're not paying attention.
Sure.
And, you see all these things where it's like you can Monday morning quarterback all the parents.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And you just want to avoid, like you want to observe those things, and then you want to go, okay, how can I be better in my life with what I've just witnessed?
Sure.
How do I put that in my bag of tricks to understand more?
How do I use those experiences to learn?
Yeah, like when I drank, I was the guy that knew like 30 minutes before the fight was going to happen.
Oh yeah. I knew like 30 minutes before I drank the fight was going to happen because of
no. I watched the fight. I never got in fights.
Yeah.
I'd look across the bar, Jay's Lounge one night. I'm like, they're going to go to blows.
Yeah.
And then 20 minutes later, boom, go to blows.
Yeah.
And like, that's just maybe that's something I have that a lot of people don't have. But like, I don't think people are as pay attention as much as they should to how some of their actions affect people.
Dude, we will never truly understand the impact our actions have in life sometimes. I mean, there's, we don't, as human beings, we lose. And I was thinking about this when you said I could see the fight 30 minutes before it happens. It's, you'd mentioned earlier, energy. Like you read energy, you feel energy.
Yeah,
you
totally.
see a bigger picture of what's happening versus the isolated, more selective of what's happening, right? So yeah, I totally could understand why you would, say like, I could see this happening before it would ever happen. And experiences tend to teach us a lot, right?
Well, it's almost like you feel like Nostradamus. You feel like some sort of weird soothsayer or some sort of person who has like a magic 8-ball or something. It's like, it's like if then. I heard a screenwriter say this once. Mm-hmm. Every story comes down to if then. If this happens, then this happens.
Like cause and effect type?
Basically, yeah. But it's like my easy way of going like, like I work with politicians.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I want to do this. Okay, well, if you do this, then this will happen.
Right.
If you do this, then this might happen or that might happen.
Sure.
And people don't think that way. A lot of times they think like in an emotional way. where it's like, mom or daddy doesn't have time for that.
Yeah.
Or
time for me. That's where the child starts to, you know what I mean? So then they start to adopt that belief system.
It's fucking terrible. Yeah. I don't like, that's a big, I've lately started to empathize with Bond villains where they're like, we will drop the EMP and none of your electronic equipment will work.
Thank God.
And I'm kind of like, yeah, go for it.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's reset this.
Be a tough 2 weeks, and then we'll figure it out, and we'll go back to
It's like Fight Club type stuff. Like let's set everything to reset.
1999, man, one of the best movies I ever saw.
I watched that. I just saw it again.
It's still fucking good.
Listen, I watch that movie at least once a year for a reset. When I'm thrusted back into the human experience, and I'm behaving in ways that are, when I say animalistic, I'm not like a psychopath anymore, but like when I'm doing things that are only gratifying to myself and I'm caught up in negative emotions and all that stuff, I'll throw on Fight Club and just reset everything.
That does it for you?
Dude, yes, man. Because when that's such I never read the book, but the movie has such a message to it that when I was 13 and I first watched, I watched it all the time. I got it on VHS for Christmas one year.
We started a Fight Club that summer.
Dude, I can't imagine.
We fought each other in backyards.
Yeah. I can't imagine how many people did. But when I continue to watch it, it's like every time I see it, I almost pick up something that I missed the first time. And again, it's that message within the message of like, we're a slave to our consumerism, and I love the whole, how the twist at the end for anybody who hasn't seen it.
If you set the debt to zero,
reset everything. Like we don't want to be handcuffed to this anymore. This ideology of sheep, essentially. But going back to children, it's I would never be able to work with children in any capacity, whether it be teaching or one of these CYS workers or anything like that, because I have such a soft spot for the dependents of the world, right? So the elderly, the children, the mentally challenged, all those things, like the people that can't advocate for themselves and fight for themselves and things like that. And there's so many people in life that take advantage of those,
So you're a protector.
If you would call me that, yeah, I guess you could say that.
You don't like bullies?
Right. I don't like anyone preying on the weak, right? And then let's go back to that profound moment. So
let's do it.
Yeah, okay. So I'm sober, I don't know, dude, like maybe a year or so, or it might have been a little over a year. And I'm learning a lot of philosophical and spirituality and the ego and what the ego does and control and the idea of control and all this shit, right? So one day, it's when my ex and I had just got back together, and so we only had the one daughter at the time, and she was like maybe 5 or 6. And I'm sitting in the living room, and I could hear my ex and my daughter communicating, and my ex she did something, the kid did something, and she was reprimanding her or whatever. So I immediately get up with this whole head full of human conditioning, and she's not hearing what you're saying, and she's interpreting it the other way, and blah, blah, blah. So I go running into the kitchen, and I remember I said, hold on, stop. I said to my daughter, do you understand what mommy's saying and why is she saying it? And, she was 5 or 6, dude. And she's like, no, like I just couldn't have blah, blah. And then I said to her mother, like, do you understand what she's hearing? Do you understand why you're saying what you're saying is what she's, this is what she's hearing, and so on and so forth. After about 2 or 3 minutes, I'm looking at the two of them, and they're looking at me like completely confused. Yeah, like completely confused and like, what the hell's going on? Excuse me. So my ex storms out of the kitchen and goes upstairs, and I could see she's obviously, upset. And I was like, what's wrong? Like, what's going on? And she's like, I can't say anything right. I can't parent our child right. I don't know how to be a good parent. That's how you always make me feel. So now I sit down and I'm sitting there looking at myself and I'm going, wait a minute. Like, I'm trying to help my daughter understand what she's saying, and I'm trying to help her learn how to speak to my daughter. And then it hit me in that moment, dude, you're just trying to control everything.
Yeah.
Like that ego snuck in so quickly. Like you're not educating them. You're trying to control how your daughter turns out by controlling the way her mother talks to your daughter. Mm-hmm. And I sat there and I laughed. I wasn't going to beat myself up with guilt and shame or anything like that, but I laughed at it. And I was like, wow. Like in AA material, they'll say like alcohol's cunning, baffling, and powerful. Well, I used to say ego is cunning, baffling, and powerful. Like that motherfucker's going to knock at your front door. And by the time you get your ass off the couch to let him in, he came in through the back door and he's already in your refrigerator.
Yeah.
Like you don't realize it's there until
You realize it's there.
Yeah, right. And that to me was a very profound moment because I realized what, it helped me realize when I do things, what are my intentions and motives behind what I'm doing? Like I have to be really, really clear. And this is stuff I teach clients. You got to be really, really clear and honest with yourself when you examine your intentions and motives behind the things that you do, the things that you say, and going back to those actions that we talked about, the impact your words and your behaviors are going to have on other people. And we may never know. Like there are some people we may never know. Maybe we had one encounter with them briefly and we did or said something and it could have changed the trajectory of their life.
That's happened to me a few
forever.
times.
I'm sure.
People have told me that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see them like years later. You're like, that conversation changed my life.
Yes.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah. You're like, wow.
What? I said you were gay.
Yeah. I unlocked the whole world for you. Yeah.
Well, the truth is I was, and now I'm happier, and I'm like, good for you.
And you opened that door for me. Yeah. So, going back to what we were saying with that trauma is so really that trauma does, as you had mentioned, physically speaking, and then that insidious trauma that happens with people through the form of human conditioning. So a lot of the work I do with clients is helping them self-identify. Right. So helping them to identify who they are. And then most importantly, and this is really like the hallmark keystone work that I do is with that change behavior, is getting them to identify their core beliefs and what role those core beliefs are having on their day-to-day behaviors and their quality of life. Okay. So most human beings have 3 core beliefs. We have belief of ourself, belief of the world, and belief of people within the world. And those core beliefs are often handed down based on our conditioning and how we're raised and so on and so forth. So if a human being finds that their life is not where they want it to be, they're partaking in behaviors, whether they be addictive or compulsive or whatever, that are causing more damage than good, it's disadvantageous to work with that behavior. I don't want to work with the behavior. Like I used to tell clients when I was in the outpatient setting, I'd say, go to XYZ outpatient center if you want to talk about drugs and alcohol, because I'm not here to talk about drugs and alcohol. I'm here to work with you. Right. Because I'm a firm believer that when the person heals, the addictions see themselves out the door.
I agree with that.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so it's about that sort of identification within who you are as a person, finding out what those beliefs are. And most of those beliefs, dude, they lie deep within the unconscious mind. So no matter how hard you want to sit there on a tablet and write it down, like, what are my beliefs? You don't see them. But how you can tell that they're there is you observe the patterns of behaviors in your life, right?
Yeah, but that means you have to be self-aware.
Well, so that's where that self-identity comes in.
Yeah.
So that identity is not just identifying who I am as a person, but it's more of being aware of who I am.
Yeah. What am I saying? What am I doing?
Yeah.
It's almost like, man, if just more people did that, life would be just so much easier for everybody. If they just like, it's a reflection. It's almost like watching your own TV show. Dude. And saying like, here's what me as a character does. Yes. Here's how the people interact with me. Here's how I can. Why did they do that?
Yeah.
What did I say? What did I do?
Sure. And that's something that's so ironic that you use the TV show analogy.
Well, because I think this is all a TV show.
Yeah, everything. The Truman Show, like Jim Carrey.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for the light to fall from the sky to be like, oh, I knew it.
Yeah. I would. Again, when I work with people, I have to be very mindful that I'm not trying to influence their beliefs. Like I'm not trying to influence my beliefs onto you or bestow them upon you.
That's hard to do.
Well, sure.
That's
absolutely.
super hard.
You got to walk a fine line.
Yeah, to restrain yourself.
Sure. And I, whether I'm doing health and wellness guidance, supplement guidance, if I'm, which I do very often, I have clients that go for blood work and I help educate them on their blood work and, what the numbers mean and blah, 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 and how to properly advocate for your health to your physicians and so on and so forth. I stress to them, and I do it for myself as well, repeatedly throughout the conversations. I am not a doctor. These are my belief systems, or these are alternative belief systems. You have the right to form whatever type of belief system you feel as though fits your life perfectly. Yep. My job is just kind of throw a couple different things on the table, food for thought, have you kind of toy with it and see if it fits. If it doesn't, and I've worked with a lot of people where they're like, dude, especially more staunch religious types where they're like, I'm just not, no, God is in the sky and I'm going to go to heaven. And I'm like, okay, dude, I'm not taking that from you by any stretch of the means. I had this, well.
Do they think that you're trying to do that?
It depends. And here's the thing. When I feel that resistance and I see that resistance, I know I'm touching upon something. It's invoking an emotion, right? So that resistance is a fear usually, right? But again, I would be doing more damage and harm to the client if I made them adopt a certain mindset. That's not what my role is. My role is to really help you develop autonomy and the ability to self-govern. You know, as somebody that works is helping people change behaviors, I don't want clients the rest of my life. Like I don't want the same client for 20 years.
Because you're not the insurer. You're not the mental health industry or the pharmaceutical companies. You want them to not use you and be like, I'm good.
Bingo. Yeah. How effective am I as somebody that's going to help someone change their behaviors if they're still with me for 20 years?
Yeah. You suck.
Yeah.
You're really bad at your job.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to work with somebody for 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, a year, whatever, and then have them, 3 years down the road be sustaining change behavior and tell somebody, hey, I worked with Kyle for like 8 months. And it's been 2 years and I've been sustaining this behavior.
Yep.
That shows effectiveness in what I'm doing. And I'm not doing it. The person's doing it. I'm just kind of putting the light on some different things.
Yeah.
But helping them, but going back to that movie, I would compare that self-identity journey to watching a movie. And I would tell people, you could sit down in front of a movie and you can watch any type of genre movie you want, and you could feel and be present with all of the emotions that come with that movie. So if you're watching a horror movie, you could feel frightened. If you're watching a comedy, you could feel laughter. If you're watching a tragedy or a sad movie, you could feel sadness, right? But as you're sitting there watching that, in the back of your mind, you understand this is just a movie. Like these are just actors. Like I'm feeling and present with the emotions, but these are just actors. The problem that most people fall into, in my opinion, take it for what it's worth, is that they think they are the actor in the movie and they become so attached and tied to
the character.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's where we talk about like ego too. Like what role does that character, like, they're
afraid to change their character.
Right. Or they wear so many different character masks that they don't know who they actually
are.
Yeah,
who am I?
Who's the person behind
your
the mask?
first question? Who are you?
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Who are you is one of the most impactful conversation starters or questions that you could pose to somebody, because you're going to hear a lot of wild answers, and those answers are going to tell you a lot. Like these are things I learned as a clinician or as a counselor. Like I have to really listen to what's being said. But sometimes I have to listen more to what's not being said.
Right.
To give me some indicators as to why things are going on. So yeah, I would use that movie analogy. And, when it comes to like my personal belief system, which again, I don't try to influence that or bestow that upon anybody. But, when it comes to the conversations of like God and existence and everything along those lines, I tend to lean more to practical science-based thinking. And one of the things I love is quantum physics, specifically the double slit experiment. And the double slit experiment to me,
that's light.
Dude, it's one of the most.
Why doesn't that prove God to you?
Well, it does prove God.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't prove God as to the deity that everybody told me God was.
No, I don't think I swear to God.
Figure of speech. Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
No, I'm not anymore. Mm-hmm. I was an atheist up until I fucking took the mushrooms.
Okay. I believe that.
And it was one of those things where I was like, holy shit, I didn't realize this. I didn't realize that there was something greater than I am.
Sure.
And it gives people, even if there is no God, it's a better life to think there is.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So a lot of the people that are religious that aren't hardcore fanatical are pretty peaceful.
What is that though? Like
hardcore fanatical or?
Yeah. I mean, is that like
that's an identity too.
You know what the crazy thing is like, I thought like, I'm not even, and I've said this before, like I'm not even really a Republican. Mm-hmm. Like I'm just like 48% of the country's independent. Like I'm fighting over a quarter. Who gives a fuck? I don't care. I really don't care. Like, are you a good person and you don't want to hurt people? Mm-hmm. I don't care what fucking political party you are.
Sure.
The God thing is, look, I was told all these things about like conservatives and the right. And like my grandfather was a conservative hardcore. He was in World War II. My dad's a conservative. And they were never really like God-fearing people. They were never really like church people. And then once I started hanging out with like God-fearing church people, I'm like, you're not bad. Like you are good people. Yeah. Like you are not like, and even like the crazy ones, like we would consider air quote crazy, who are like, They use Jesus in every sentence.
Yes, I know
I'm
people
like
that.
I'm like, you're good. You're good people. You just really rely on Jesus a lot.
Yeah.
And, like, that's your thing.
Well, and again, it's what are you doing with that? Are you trying to force?
Yeah, you being a
my
piece of
belief
shit?
System? Yeah, you trying to change?
like, there
are you
are-
embezzling money through the God?
That happens a lot.
Happens a lot. You know
I'd
what I'm
say
saying?
there's a lot more. I mean, once I learned that church was just a between two people. Did you ever hear that?
No. What do you mean?
So in the Bible, church is all you need is two people. You and I are theoretically we're now in church.
Oh, sure. Okay.
I don't need buildings made of stone or houses made of wood to be in church. I don't need a priest.
Yeah.
I don't need this whole bureaucracy of Catholicism or Buddhism.
So
or,
what I'm hearing with that is spirituality.
I'm also one of the people who think that look, what does RFK say? People in authority lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily just go for the government. That goes for everything.
Sure.
Right. And I'm a big, we were talking about like before where like there's moments, the trauma moments.
Yeah.
So I would consider that like a source.
Okay.
Right. So that's like, I look at the world now as like these moments. And I think the world works that way. I think people work that way, where there's a moment in time where it's profound, and in your head you make a choice now where it's like, that is my ultimate fear, or I don't want to do that again. And I think that like in terms of religion, I think look, we found ancient civilizations as far back as 12,600 years ago that had astronomy, math, culture, all these things. Yeah. And you're going to try to convince me that like the religions that have been around for 3,000 years are the right ones?
Yeah.
I think they're derivative.
Yeah.
I think they come from something. Sure. So I'm more concerned about like, well, how did that idea get to there? Because I want to know the original idea. Yeah. The original idea is more closer to truth than what we're at right now.
Well, and how do we find that original idea?
Well, I think that's the search.
Yeah.
I think to have an open mind and to say like, it's hard. Look, yesterday Trump said there was aliens, and 2 days before that Obama said there was aliens.
The Obama thing, yeah.
Right.
Right.
Like, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, what is going on? Like the nature of me and my dad had this fight where I said everything you know is a lie.
Yes. Yeah.
Whether it's history, how they teach you, who like what fucking politicians say, and like, oh, these taxes are good for you, and to do this, like, it's all bullshit.
Right.
And I think that like, I think more of the world needs to be that way. I think more of the world needs to be like the TV, like recognize it's a TV show.
Right.
Recognize that like most of the things that you're being like, once they found out they can get in your pockets, and you would look at that every time you take a shit, and then you got used to we used to read magazines when we pooped.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, now
or just sat alone with our thoughts.
Yeah, we don't do that anymore.
Right.
It's the constant distraction of like, what's this new diet, or what's this new thing, or what did Trump do, or what did the fucking Clintons do, or what did and none of it is like, what about me?
Right.
None of it is.
No.
None of it is like the inner journey, the folk, because that's the real reality. Like, we could disagree on the nature of the universe, but the truth is, your universe is different than my universe, and everybody walking around is their own fucking universe.
So that's what, like, when I talk about the double slit experiment, and I talk about God, is you just summed it up right there. Is perception creates reality, right?
Sure.
So when I
manifesting,
yeah. So when you look at, you've heard of the double slit experiment?
I know what that is.
Okay, yeah. So essentially,
why is there three?
Well, it's once there's measured. Once
observed.
A particle, observed or measured. Once a particle becomes observed,
the Schrodinger's cat,
same exact experiment. Yeah, it's just like if a tree fell in the woods, did anyone?
My favorite one is if a fat girl falls in the woods, do the trees laugh at her? That's my favorite.
I've never heard that one.
You never heard that one?
No. Which physicist came up with that?
It was Hawking.
Yeah. But now shift gears to the God concept. So if a particle, so for anybody that may be listening that doesn't understand it, once a particle is observed, it acts or behaves differently, right? So when it's unobserved,
this is such a hard concept for people to grasp, because they don't think about it that way.
I've done this for groups. in drug.
Once
and
you get it,
alcohol
you
counseling.
totally get it.
Yeah, and people cannot wrap their brain around it. That a wave is a probability and possibility until it's observed, and then the wave function collapses. Now it becomes matter. Now this is again at the quantum level, so the smallest part.
Yeah, but what the fuck is size when you're in an infinite universe that's getting bigger? What does it matter?
Yeah, right. It doesn't make a difference at all, right?
Yeah.
So now when I think of God, I look at. So if conscious observation creates reality, right? So there was a book called Biocentrism. Dr. Robert Lanza wrote it, and it's a theory, that he proposes that, the question is, does everything exist and because of that you're conscious, or does everything exist because you're conscious? So does your consciousness create?
I'm lately leaning towards the second one.
Well, and the double slit experiment proves that. Now, again,
well, that opens up the door to like the holographic universe and
dude, yeah,
crazy shit.
So I'm not saying I'm not saying that if you're not observing something, it's not happening, right? Like, okay, my truck's out in the parking lot right now because that's where I left it, right? So I don't think that it's like vanished and gone. But what the double slit experiment says that it's probably there, but it might not be.
Right.
The wave of probability says it's there. And that once I walk out of this building and I get to my truck and I consciously observe it, collapse the wave function, now it becomes reality.
Well, are dreams reality? That's an interesting.
So dreams are.
I would like.
Well, you're deep within the unconscious mind now with dreams.
Yeah, but why isn't that reality? You spend a 30-year life doing that. Who's to say that isn't reality?
Once you awaken and dreams don't make any sense anymore, why do they not make sense? Because the ego just dismisses.
Well, I think
because the ego wants everything to make sense.
Like you listen. Did you ever listen? Did you ever listen to the guy? Did you see this? Oh my God! I gotta send you this documentary. It's called. Oh fuck. Anyways,
is that it? Oh fuck.
No.
Okay.
I think it's called The Laser or something like that.
Okay.
So this guy takes DMT,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And you could smoke it, or usually it's smoked. It's also the active ingredient in ayahuasca.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he has a laser. You ever see like a laser, like when people do, what's it called? They elevations. So like they'll shoot the laser out and they hold the big stick up and they'll know like, oh, this is 12 feet from this hill. And then if you move the laser level over there,
okay.
People do it in construction all the time when they're trying to drop ceilings and shit like that. And that thing spins.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's got the laser on the wall and he goes over and starts looking at it. And it has depth and he can see things. He can see what looks like alien or like Japanese. Or
now, is the room darkness essentially?
No, it's just the laser.
Okay.
So he thinks he's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
He starts inviting all these people over to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And they all see the same thing. Depth.
Right.
They like if the laser's on the wall, they can look below it. They can look above it. They can see things up there. They can see things down. And it's this really crazy thing.
So this like warps into like a different dimension type thing. Is it something along those lines?
They see the University of Japan, and I believe it's Oxford, are doing these experiments because a lot of people who take DMT end up coming back from it telling the same story. So what they're doing right now is they're putting people on IV DMT, and when they come out of it, they're trying to map whatever the other side looks like. So it's like you hear about like the machine elves and the jesters that laugh at you and all these crazy things.
Sure.
And if you go into like consciousness and God and stuff like that, these things, these whether you want to call them medicines or not, and I'm just paying attention to the psychedelic stuff because I think it leads people to better lives.
Yeah.
And a higher consciousness of understanding things.
Sure.
They've been doing this stuff since the dawn of man. They've been using these medicines. Like how the fuck do the people in South America realize that like if you take this thing, it'll be the most intense psychedelic experience in your life, but you have to mix it with this other thing to create an MAO inhibitor so that you can uptake it into your brain.
Absolutely, yeah.
Don't tell me that they didn't have science and math and they didn't understand.
They weren't just like throwing shit together and figured it out. Yeah.
Well, how do they know what the end result is?
Exactly.
How do you know that if you do those things, you're gonna have this profound spiritual experience?
Sure.
And I think that there are these. Science is pointing more and more to it that there's this alternate realities.
Sure.
These things that like these experiences that you could have that totally interrupt what we think reality is.
Absolutely. Even like when you get into like multiverse theory and things like that.
I mean, that's a crazy one.
I mean, it's wild, but I mean, think about it, dude. I mean, we are so small, so small. Like you said, like what's relative to size when we look at everything around us, honestly.
Yeah.
And you look at, you know,
if you believe in the universe and.
Well, I mean, it's kind of.
I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. They could have just like when I think God, that's what I think of. You know, I think of quantum physics. I think of the observer effect. So look at like, all right, how does religion describe God? Traditional religions. How does traditional religions describe God, and how does science describe consciousness? Well, they kind of say the same thing, but they're saying it with two different ways.
Well, that's how I feel about like angels and aliens.
Like saying the same thing, but
yeah, you're just using a different word to describe the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So when you look at like modern religion, they'll say like, all right, God is omnipresent. God is all knowing. God is all seeing. God is the creator of everything. Well, when you look at science and you look at things like Schrodinger's cat, or you look at things like the double slit experiment, they're saying, you know, reality is created by the all observing, all knowing, omnipresent creator of everything. Right. So if the double slit experiment holds true, which, you know, appears to do so, once I'm consciously observing, I'm creating. So I am not me. Consciousness is God. I am consciousness.
You are God.
Yeah. So now, not like the I am God and I oversee.
Well, no, not like the transhumanist way of thinking about it, but like they said that about, if you look at like the early, so recently I started listening to people who were talking about like the original texts of things, because it's really important to understand like what the world they were living in and what it all meant. So like the euphemisms and all the thing, the way that they talk about things, and like what does it really mean? Because like when you start translating things, you know, I once caught a fish this big. Once you start translating things, it gets away from the truth of what it's supposed to be, because we might not have a word in our language for it, so we're going to embellish, and it totally changes the meaning.
It's the telephone game.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it ends up being.
But when you listen to like the original text of things, and you listen to people who would be considered like fringe thinkers, like I always go back to like 4 to 5 doctors recommend. Yeah. I'm like, why is that one doctor not?
What's he doing? Yeah.
What's he thinking? What's his reasoning?
What did he find? Yeah.
Yeah. What does he know that they don't know? And when there's this idea that like the universe and Christ is actually like, I'm going to fuck all this up, but like the Christ consciousness of everything is that it's an internal thing. It's not an external thing.
Absolutely.
The reality.
His word said that.
Yeah. And it didn't mean church. It didn't mean the Vatican. It didn't mean all of these things.
What was one of the, you know, again, I'm not a religious guy, but one thing I
theology is incredibly interesting.
Oh, sure. Yeah. But I mean, Christ said the kingdom of heaven is within you.
Yes.
He didn't say it's up in the sky, and if you follow these commandments, you'll get there. It's within you.
Yeah.
It's right there. And that consciousness is, you know, if I'm consciously observing.
I like how physics brings you closer to God.
I love it, dude.
Yeah.
Well, and again, that's my concept of God. I believe God is a concept. I don't think God's a deity or an energy that created everything.
I think it's an energy that created everything.
But check it out. Is not, without is not.
I don't know what that means.
Is not, without is not. Or let me rephrase that. Is not, unless is not.
So that's like nothing is nothing.
That energy source that you're saying cannot be known unless you're knowing. Is not, unless is not. So that one source that you talk about, that one energy, cannot exist without your conscious understanding of it.
Okay.
So check this out. This is when I talk about life and death with people. And again, I'm not telling people believe this stuff. I'm just throwing some different things at them.
You're another opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of times I talk to people and when we get into like existentialism and things like that, it's like, where do we go when we die? You know, what, you know, is it heaven? Is it hell? Is it purgatory? Is it, do I reborn? Blah, 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 blah. What does the other side look like? What's going to happen to my family? Especially people that have kids. I hear that a lot. I don't want to die because my kids. You know,
that's terrifying.
You're right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. You have a wife, you said, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Russian immigrant motherfuckers.
Let's go. So is not, unless is not. Hold on to that. So now when you go to sleep at nighttime, you lay down in your bed and you go to sleep, where's your wife?
Next to me.
How do you know?
When I'm sleeping,
Mm-hmm.
I presume.
Do you presume when you're sleeping?
I don't know. Oh, like is she in my dreams?
No. When you are fast asleep, where does your wife exist?
I don't know.
She doesn't. Why doesn't she exist? Because when you're fast asleep, deep state of sleep, where are you?
I don't know.
You don't exist.
I don't think so.
Tell me where you go when you're in your deepest state of sleep. You, Mark.
What do you mean?
You.
Like, where do I go?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, explain to me, like, what does where do you go mean?
Simple question. Where do you, when you're sleeping, when you're laying in your bed, not dozing off, not waking up in the middle of the night to piss, nothing like that.
Like the dream world?
When
Is that what you're talking about?
Deepest state of sleep.
Like REM?
REM, deep state sleep, whatever you want to call it. Where does your wife exist at that exact moment?
My heart?
How do you know?
Because I believe.
Where's your belief system when you're in a deep state of sleep?
I don't know. It comes out.
How does it come out? How do you know it's coming out?
Because I have experiences.
And when do you remember those experiences?
Sometimes not.
Do you remember them when you wake up?
Sometimes not.
Okay. Is your wife next to you when you wake up? If she, practically speaking, I'm not saying like if she works third shift.
Usually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you regain consciousness.
Wait, is sleeping the double slit experiment?
In my opinion, when people say what happens after you die, I think is sleep. Because listen, here's the deal.
But isn't it like the energy thing? Because energy cannot be created nor destroyed.
Right. Thermodynamics. You're absolutely correct. But the portal, which houses the energy and the story and character of Kyle, no longer exists when I'm in a deep state of sleep. When I think of like, well,
but does that mean you have no sense of self?
What is self? Self is mind-made. Self is generated. Self is the character. There is no self in a state of sleep. When you're in your deepest state of sleep, and again, like I could see it's kind of like having a tough time blend in, and that's fine.
Well, it's because I ate your fucking whatevers.
That was some DMT. I thought by now you'd be here, but you obviously...
Yeah, DMT, I would have walked out the door already.
So the point is, if somebody says, I don't want to die because I'm going to miss my kids. And I say, where are your kids when you're asleep? And they're in their bed. Well, how do you know? Well, that's where I put them. Okay. When you're in your deepest state of sleep, not dozing off, not waking up, not half asleep, not sleep paralysis, the deepest state of existence of sleep, where are your kids? I don't know. Your kids don't exist because you don't exist. So this fear of dying.
But how can I have a deepest state of sleep and not exist? Like, how do I?
You don't even know you're experiencing it. You only know it when you regain consciousness and you wake up and you say, oh, I hit deep sleep, or I slept really well, or I slept pretty shitty, or here's my wife, here's my kids, here's my car. Here's that conscious.
Do you remember your dreams?
So you do.
No, do you?
Yeah. So I do remember some dreams, but.
Do you remember some dreams that are more profound than others?
I wouldn't necessarily say profound. I guess profound, if you defined it as I remembered a little clearer, yes. But here's one of the problems is when you awaken, your ego self comes about. Left side brain, right side brain.
But you're saying the ego doesn't exist in deep sleep?
You tell me.
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Nothing exists in deep sleep.
I don't believe that.
How do you know?
Because I don't believe that.
Okay, well, that's fine. That's your belief system.
Yeah, but like I've experienced deep sleep.
You remember being in deep sleep and saying, "Oh, wow, this is what deep sleep looks like. Wow, look at that over there."
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people there's a lot of people that would say like there's you know, like a deep meditation or, you know, Kundalini or something like that, or like the Buddhist monks who sit outside the -40 with t-shirts on and get crushed that they
and what did
have these profound experiences.
And what is the primary goal for Buddhist monks to lose in the deepest state of meditation?
Sense of self.
Bingo.
Yeah. Being present.
Yeah. So being in a state
right now is what matters.
Right. But you're losing that sense of self. Self only exists through the conscious observation. So the experiences. So remember, is not unless is not. The energy being that you believe cannot exist unless you consciously, doesn't have to be visual, could be in your thoughts. Check this out. The pyramids of Egypt.
Be careful.
Hold on. Where? Oh shit. Yeah, you're right. All right. Whatever. The pyramids of Egypt, just for context, where did they exist before I said that?
What do you mean?
Where did they exist before I said that?
Like Cairo?
I've
never seen them. I've only seen.
We don't even know if they're real, right?
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. But the fact is, boil it down to the deepest sense. The pyramids of Egypt did not cross your stratosphere of thinking at all until I said the word and you became consciously aware of it through your thinking.
Right.
So they didn't exist. Nothing exists that's outside of
your consciousness. If it didn't exist, how could I recall it?
Through observation. So like people will say like, well, that's bullshit. You can't say World War II didn't exist. I could open up a book and see that it exists. Yeah, you're correct. And once you open a book, observe, read, and absorb the material, it becomes
real,
consciously real.
Yeah.
But until you do so, it's never existed. It's kind of like the theory of like a parent, like if I don't feed my kid bad food, they're never going to crave it because they're never going to know. Do you see what I'm saying?
Or if I don't introduce my kid to struggle, they'll never understand struggle.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, we go back to that is not unless is not. I am not a person experiencing life. I am life experienced. I am not apart from consciousness. I am consciousness a part of it. So I am not separate from everything, but I am a part of.
Do you think there's a grand consciousness?
In my little world?
No. I mean, like
a collective consciousness.
Yeah, like an unrealized collective consciousness.
So
is
like
it possible
again, you look into things like
because there's theories about stuff.
Well, like unified grand theory, the grand unified. I'm screwed up. Grand unified theory, I think it is, or unified grand theory, right? So Albert Einstein worked really hard to try to tie all
the theory of everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have your four fundamental forces in nature. You have gravity, you have electromagnetism, you have strong nuclear forces and weak nuclear forces. And Albert Einstein.
Can you prove gravity?
Well, that's the kicker. So Albert Einstein, the reason Einstein could not prove this grand unified theory is because gravity can't be tested. Right now, practically speaking, if you step off of a building, you're going to see that gravity.
Some would say that's electromagnetism.
You could say that. Well,
like it's the whole thing is like, do you know you never touch a person?
Oh, like it's the forces negating each other. Yeah, right. Yeah. So like even theories on gravity, we thought gravity pushed for the longest time. It was pushing us down until I believe it was Einstein who said, no, gravity's pulling. Right. So you take a
but it's a theory. It's like, so there's even like these.
Well, you can't test gravity in a vacuum. You can't test gravity in space. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah. So right now, so all we know about gravity is equations.
What we think it is.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's
this is a pretty crazy thing to be like, we can't prove gravity.
Sure. And that's where you've heard of string theory?
Yeah.
And that's where
it's 11. It's something like when you get all the way down there,
it gets
like
up to 26 dimensions.
So where do those, like, there's always something smaller.
And that's what, so yeah, you break down a particle. So you have a particle, you break it down to a subatomic particle, you break it down to a proton, a neutron, electron, you break it down to a nucleus, you break it down to a quark.
All the way down.
They believe, yeah. So the physicists that believe in string theory believe that inside of a quark, or unless there's other layers I'm missing, obviously, because I'm not, a physicist by any stretch, but they're inside that there's these little vibrational strings that are just vibrating. So now we talk about frequencies and energy. So these little vibrational strings that are vibrating, that are creating a quark, a nucleus.
As far as we know, that's source, right?
Correct. So it's all one vibrational source.
So frequency is reality.
Yeah.
Okay, so like,
even look at quantum entanglement. Like that shit's wild too.
Like spooky particles at a distance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so like you could fire two different, from the same source.
And they could be light years and light years and light years away, and still react at the same time.
Correct. Yeah. So there's
that should bring you to God, don't you think?
That's what but that is God. That's what I'm saying. That's when I think of the word, we get. So
there should be a different definition of God, or like a different understanding.
No, I think that everybody should have their own definition of God. Like I think.
No, I agree too. But like on the objective things, it's like, okay, so you have people who think that like, cloud sky.
Yeah.
Clouds in the city in the sky, right? But like I said before, like some people say aliens, some people say angels, some people say demons. It's all the same thing. Is there another name or another descriptor of what could be God? And maybe it's and it's probably not bearded dude with the robe. It might mean something. There might be like a descriptor. Like I was watching this guy the other day. He was talking about he's a phlenologist or something like that. He studies ancient. I think that's the word for it. He studies ancient texts.
For that, phonologist.
I think one measures the brain, one measures the bumps on the head,
okay,
and the other one is ancient texts and words.
Yeah,
but like, so he was mentioning something about like, and this kind of blew my mind because it shows the limitations of language. And
good.
So
I'm glad you said that.
In like the Greek, in the Greek language, there's like 27,000 words or something like that. But then if you go to like Hebrew, there was like 4,000. And it's like, just by definition, if you can't have words to describe things and understand concepts, then it's that much more complicated for people to understand.
Yeah.
So like as an alphabet or as a literal written spoken language, you can understand things more. Therefore, you understand things more.
Right.
And when you reduce the amount of words, you reduce the amount of
things
understood. Yeah, because then it's just like, well, it kind of looked like a beer can with a waffle cone, and it's like, but the Greek would have the word for that,
right?
Instead of like trying to put all these things together. That's why conceptually it's hard for people to understand because we're limited by language.
Well, and again, we look at that ego. Everything has to make sense. To the left side of the brain, it's highly critical, highly analytical.
So if it doesn't make sense, it creates anxiety.
Or if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't exist. So how can you say the supreme being that's so supreme if I could put a name on it? The old saying.
I mean, that's an interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So name the color, blind the eye. Once you give it a name, imagine walking outside your house every day, not after a psychedelic trip, but imagine walking outside your house every single day and seeing a bird for the very first time. You'd be like, what the fuck?
Right.
What the hell was that? You know, it's almost like having a state of amnesia. If you had the state of amnesia all day long, where everything was new and everything was colorful and everything, and you're like, I don't know what that is because I don't know, I can't describe it. Right. So you're saying like, if we run out of contextual understanding of how to describe something, does it even exist?
I hope so.
Why?
Well, it's the double slit experiment. If you don't look at that, do you know what I mean?
But do you understand what I'm saying about the theory of everything? Like reality is produced by the perception to which you're seeing.
Like if there was no humans on Earth, would Earth still exist?
If there were no humans anywhere, would humans exist? Like nothing would exist. Once you die, this is why did you ever hear the old saying, death is for the living?
No.
Yeah.
Maybe I have.
Yeah. Death is for the living.
Because if you're not dying, you ain't alive.
And if you ain't alive, you don't exist. And if you've never existed, then nobody that ever loved you existed, and nobody you ever loved existed. So it's almost like this existential, what's the purpose?
Well, I think that becomes very, man, I think I used to think that way. I think that's what the psychedelics did instead of going like, well, what's the fucking purpose of it all?
Yeah.
And then I became purposeful.
Well, and so when I think of people,
I might be deluded, but it feels better.
That's key. Bingo.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because there's this old meme I used to see. It was like these two little cartoon characters on a bus, and one saying life has no purpose.
Oh yeah. And one's looking at the cliff and the other one's looking at the beautiful sky.
And one's saying like life has no purpose. How wonderful.
Yeah.
Right. So like when I work with these people that have like existential crisis or this existential type of thinking, and it's like, there's nothing, like what's a purpose? Like, or I'm out here looking for my purpose. Understand you are the purpose. You were the purpose. So think about, Neil deGrasse Tyson or whatever.
Yeah, I think he's an idiot.
Oh, see, I like him, but I mean, I don't know. He could be a character too. Who the fuck knows?
Oh, he's definitely a character. He's out of The Simpsons, man.
Well, he actually looks like he's out of The Simpsons too. But he was talking about, and I'm not going to fretting to use the numbers because I'm gonna screw it up. But essentially, the likelihood of you never existing versus you existing is like 1/117th trillionth thousand.
It's profound. It's massive.
So like I remember seeing somewhere that you and like your ancestors would have to roll a set of die and land on 6, like a number that you can't conceive that many times for your existence to be real.
Yeah.
So when you look at that, okay, just for you to get to the egg and get there is beyond immeasurable numbers. Okay, now we look at the birthing process. So, we hear a lot, like women lose the child in the birthing process. So you survive the birthing process. Then we talk about what you said earlier. Then you survive the traumatic experience because, again, a lot of things could happen. If a doctor moves your neck the wrong way, you
totally
cut the oxygen, it could be over.
Yep.
So then you survive that. Then you put together your entire compilation of life, every experience and everything you've done in life. And think of how many times you've probably done things. I know I could rattle off 5 off the top of my head where I'm like, I should have never survived that. But yet somehow we're still
dozens,
here.
if not hundreds.
Right. So somehow we're still here. So we have defied numbers that we can't conceptually understand to exist. If you don't realize by understanding that you are here on purpose, you're out of your mind. You being here is the purpose. It's a matter of what are you doing with your purpose? What are you doing with it? You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Stop looking. Did you ever hear of Alan Watts?
Yes.
All right. Alan Watts used to say this. 2 reasons why people never...
He did a lot of psychedelics, by the way.
Do you know how he died?
No, I don't.
Alcoholism.
Ironic.
Yeah, ironic is right.
Yeah.
And I think it was one of those like I'm going out my own terms type thing.
I think I told you this. Do you know how AA started? Psychedelics.
Oh yeah. Dr. Bob.
Yeah.
He did surgery on LSD, right?
Yeah.
So Alan Watts, one of his famous quotes was, two reasons why people never find what they're looking for in life. One is they don't know who they truly are, and 2, they already possess it. So
the irony, Jesus Christ, yeah.
So now imagine, you're going to leave the house in the morning and you're looking for your keys and you look on the table where you leave them and they're not there. And then you look upstairs in the bedroom, they're not there. And now you're ripping the cushions up and then you're looking for this and you're looking for that and you're tearing everything apart. You're getting frustrated, you're getting upset, you're getting angry, and they're sitting in your pocket the whole time.
Yeah.
You're never going to find it out there because it already exists within you. You are the purpose. It's a matter of what do you do with that sense of purpose? You know what I mean? Like, what do you want to create? What do you want to, and then like when we think about fear, like we mentioned this earlier, like, wanting to create things, wanting to do things, wanting to go out. It's like when you look at it and you take a step back, it's like, well, who cares? Who cares if I fail? Who cares if I succeed? Like, it doesn't make a difference. You know what I mean? Like,
what is it called when people are so concerned about perception?
Like, well, not like a depersonalization.
Like you said, like who cares? Like many people don't do things because they do care what other people think about them.
Oh, I would look at that as like an insecurity or a self-esteem type thing. They're so afraid of being judged.
Isn't that freedom to not give a fuck what other people think about you?
And that's like all the shit that I just talked about with you is about enlightenment. That's the key, is enlightenment, the ability to be enlightened, right? And Eckhart Tolle says like, we may not be able to.
He's a weird looking dude.
Very weird. He looks like one of the Lord of the Rings gnomes.
He looks like Gollum's dad or something.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, he's the most peaceful human being on the planet.
He seems like it. Yeah.
And he says that it's like this sense of self that is constantly being judged and all these other things. One of the Tolle quotes I thought of when you were talking about ego death. And when I talk about that self-identification and I talk about consciousness and the consciousness awareness being the identity of experiencing this moment at this time, he talks about ego identification, and so many people become assumed to their roles and their genders and their political affiliations and so on, and it becomes their whole identity. And he says, the secret to life is to die before you die, and then you realize there's no such thing as death.
Okay.
Like, and then it kind of ties in with that ego death mentality.
Yeah.
And it ties into what I said a little earlier with the falling asleep is once you die, there's no such thing as death. It no longer exists because death can't exist without duality life.
I think people, I wish more people understood what you just said, because I think their lives would be, see, like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, I went for one of those psychedelic retreats.
Yeah.
And they asked, "Who are you?"
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until afterwards that I knew. At least in the moment, that's who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty profound. And I think my purpose is to reduce human suffering, whatever that means.
Sure.
Right. And like more people they think they're their cars. They think they're their houses. They think they're their watches.
Well,
and they think
politics.
that it matters.
Like you said, look at politics.
Yeah, it's all bullshit.
How many people become so ingrained with the identity, and why do they fight? Because if you threaten their identity, you threaten their sense of existence.
Yeah, you never see one of them go like, "Oh, my bad. I was wrong about all of this.
Sure.
I need to really change."
Because it's not that they're coveting their beliefs. It's because they're coveting their identity. That's who I am.
Yeah,
The scariest thing a person could ever experience is, who am I? Like, I don't know who I am. I've seen it over and over again with clients. You had mentioned the victim earlier, or my trauma, or people covet that.
Them.
Exactly. They covet it because it tells me who I am. And even though my conscious brain is telling me, we only use 10% of our conscious mind. I
don't believe that.
I mean,
I think the whole thing's there.
So like, and this is like when I talk about people like with free will, how free is free will? Do we really have free will, or is it all part of a pre-programmed, if what we do is 80 to 90% unconscious, how could you possibly say I have free will if it's all on a pre-programmed? I mean, there's been studies done on the brain where there's been brain activity before somebody picks their arm up.
I think there's something to be said about it being the most misunderstood
free will
part of the human experience is the brain. They don't know why it works. They don't know, like, I saw a meme once where it was the nervous system with the brain, and it said this is just a receiver in a skin suit.
Yeah.
And it brought me to like spooky particles at a distance or anything like that. And there's concepts out there and ideas that like we are just receivers and transmitters from some other place.
Sure.
And we would never know it because no one told us.
Exactly.
And that it's weird how all these things all lead back to some sort of, I wouldn't say religious, but a divinity that we don't understand.
Yeah. And even the brain and the mind. I mean, this is another conversation I have with people where it's like, where's your mind? Like I'm asking you, Mark, where's your mind?
I don't know.
Yeah. Everybody points here to their brain.
Yeah.
Well, what's up here? Well, can you see
your brain's there?
Well, yeah. Can you see the mind on an imaging scan? No. Right. So it's like, does my mind and brain operate independent of each other? And
I don't know.
I believe they do. I could generate a thought. They don't see thoughts. You can't run an MRI and a CAT scan and see thoughts.
Yeah, he's thinking about dicks.
Right.
You can't see that. Yeah.
Yeah,
you can't see that.
Right. So this mind generates a thought, which now stimulates brain activity, which releases or inhibits different neurochemicals, which then creates a cascade of hormones, which create feelings, which then create behaviors. So anybody, when we talk about manifestation and positive affirmations and things like that, you can't argue that they're not real, because you could sit there and think of the worst thoughts and think of all bad's going to happen and feel anxious and upset. So why can't you feel good thinking of positive thoughts and thinking that manifesting good things in your life?
Yeah, but there's people that go through the same shit that don't do that. And
what do you mean?
Like, in other words, like something like there's terrible things. There's things that could happen. Like, it's almost like you can assume how someone's going to react to something based on who they are, right? So
past experience is telling you.
Yeah, you're like, this is my friend Bob. If this happened to Bob would totally fucking lose his cool and blah blah blah. And this is my friend Jim, and he's been through this type of shit, and he knows that like I can handle that. He can handle basically whatever.
Sure.
Right. And I'm always curious about like, what is the thing? Well, let me transition real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now a girl. No, you're doing the Reiki stuff, right?
I did one session with she go by Ramona or Corinne.
She could, sure,
yeah, whatever she goes.
I know her by her state, her
government name. Yeah.
And I love her. She's great.
Oh, dude, she's awesome. I followed her stuff on social media since I started my social medias back in 2020.
So how did you feel after your first?
I felt like during the process of what she was doing.
Were you able to?
Yeah, because I can. So when we look at meditation, what's meditation? Meditation is the disconnecting from the stream of thinking and connected to self, nature, higher power, supreme being, whatever. So I can, I'm not Wim Hof. I'm not saying I have complete control over my autonomic nervous system, but I can allow myself to be present, and I set the stage in my mind and I tell myself, okay, this is, here's my intentions for coming here. And I want to listen and guide and feel exactly how.
Did she do the thing at the beginning?
Yeah. She did first she hit me with
how close was she?
With the incense or with the
no. There's like the thing that they hang down and they go over.
She definitely did something. She did.
And she's like, oh, you have issues with this, and this.
Well, you know what she told me? She told me that I have masculine wounds so she says, so I'm laying down.
Like dad stuff.
Well, that's what she said. She said, how's your relationship with your father? And I was like, I'm pretty good. I'm like, we don't, there's no bad relationship. But then I started thinking about it more and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, how is my relationship with my father? And I'm like, so my father and I, we never, and this played a role a lot in how I developed too growing up, even emotionally. Because I'll have some people that tell me I'm, in my life, I like to say, scoring people, that I'm emotionally unavailable, right?
Protective.
Yeah, right. So, my father and I, to this day, we don't have, I don't think I could ever remember a time when I told my dad I loved him or he told me he loved me, but it was always understood.
Right. My mom's like that with me.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's never a doubt. I never had a doubt, does my dad love me? Does he, or not? But it was one of those kind of men don't talk about emotions. It's almost like the old boys don't cry. The only emotion appropriate for a male is anger, blah, blah, blah. So then I wondered to myself, as she had mentioned that to me, I'm like, Jesus, how is the relationship with my father? And I'm like, and what role does that relationship play with my emotional availability? Is that playing a role in it? Is it, do I have this preconceived notion that, in order to be masculine, I can't show emotions? But see, the other thing too is emotions are, what is emotions? It's energy and motion.
Yeah.
Right. And the ability to express emotions to me shows the highest form of emotional intelligence. But in order to do so, you have to be able to express those emotions in a manner that's not destructive. Right.
Sure.
So it's completely appropriate and okay to feel anger. It's completely appropriate and okay to feel grief and sadness and happy and joy and all that stuff. But being able to identify them. So I like to believe there's specific steps in emotional regulation. So one, be able to identify it. You got to identify what it is you're feeling, right? Because so many of us, anger, for instance, anger is a secondary emotion. We could often trace the anger back to hurt, fear, anything along those lines. So I got to be able to identify what it is I'm feeling. Number two is I have to give myself permission to feel it. So go back to that conditioning discussion, especially as men, we especially in the era we grew up in the 80s and 90s, it was like, no, boys don't cry. If you got a problem, fight it out type deal. Human beings cry. All right. It has nothing to do with your fucking gender. It's the fact that you're a human being and it's an expressive emotion.
I watch MMA guys cry.
Yeah. So I have to be able to identify it. I have to be able to allow myself to feel that emotion, give myself permission to feel it. Two, I have to be able to process the emotion as it's there. So now processing the emotion is kind of like a combination of identifying and seeing it in real time, right? And then the final part is letting it go. Now, letting it go is not something I could tell you how to do or you tell me how to do. It's, to me, it's like what we were talking about with God.
Well, is it letting it go or is it accepting it?
It's the energy moving and dissipating on its own. So letting it go is not something you physically actively do. It's something you allow to happen.
Yeah. They talk about this in the spiritual psychedelic world where it's like you have to, you surrender to it, you accept it, you learn from it, and you don't dwell on it.
Right. That's when you attach to it.
Right.
Absolutely. Right. And that so when you look at Buddhism, that's what they say the root of suffering is attachment, right? Attachment to the impermanent, attachment to my feelings, attachment to things, attachment to people. Once we attach, the only constant in life is everything changes. So even your children, it's like, I know people don't like to think that, but it's like,
they are not the same tomorrow as they were yesterday.
Well, not only that, but tragic things happen, dude. You got to call a spade in life.
Sure.
No one's saying that child is promised to be there tomorrow,
Yeah.
And that's when I think about Memento Mori, you know what I mean? I love the Memento Mori conversation where it's like, remember you have to die, you know what I mean? You are immortal, right? So, let that. I think Marcus Aurelius said,
he was a Stoic, wasn't he? A Stoic?
Yeah. He's one of my favorites. You can die at any moment. Let that dictate how you think, speak, and behave. And there was a great story. I don't know if it was, a real story or not, but it supports the Memento Mori. This dude, he's a firefighter. He's at home. He's getting ready to leave for work. Him and his wife get into this big argument. They fight. They both leave the house upset. So he shows up at the firehouse, and a couple of his buddies are there, and they're talking. They're like, "Yo, what's going on? You seem like you're upset." He's like, "Yeah, me and my wife got into it this morning. We had a real bad fight. I didn't talk to her. Blah blah blah." So they talked it out a little bit, and he says, "Oh, you know what, man?" He's like, "When I go home, I'm gonna apologize to my wife." And his buddy said, "Who said you're going home today?"
How about that?
Right? Who said you're going home today? You did. But is that actually going to happen? You don't know that. So you could die at any moment. Let that dictate how you think, speak, and feel, or behave.
Yeah, and it's the thing. It's like, don't go to bed angry.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, or upset. Yeah, right. And how many times have we heard? I know I've heard it many times where people hold on to that guilt because, oh God, the last conversation I had with them, and we flipped.
It wasn't nice.
Yeah, and then we didn't talk for 2 years, and now they're dead. Now I could never, apologize or tell them I love them or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? So
there's no closure to it.
The closure comes when a person makes peace with it.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And people who made peace with it aren't thinking that way.
Correct. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
So for those that feel as though there's no closure, they've never come peace or made peace with it. And there's, so there's stages to that too. So there's that level of acceptance, right? So you have to accept that it's there. And let me rephrase that you have to be aware it's there. Number one, then you accept that it's there. Now, accepting isn't always pretty. Accepting doesn't have to feel good. It's more of just I accept that it's there, right? And then the coming to peace is the healing aspect of it. So that's when people really heal from that like lack of closure or whatever the case may be, is when they've come to peace with themselves, with whatever, happened.
So do you think her saying about your masculine attachments?
Oh yeah, back to that.
Did you dwell on that?
No, so I didn't dwell.
I don't mean dwell as in like. Did you sit with it for a moment and try to figure it out?
Like within minutes of her saying that, because like that, just like I told you. So she said that, and I'm like, no. She's like, how's the relationship with your father? I'm like, no, me and my dad are cool. Like we got a good relationship. He was never abusive. He never treated me like shit, nothing like that. And then I sat in that moment, and I was like, because she was saying, you have this masculine wound. She was like coming down towards the right side of my body, and she says it's projecting vulnerability onto the feminine side. And I was like, wow, what the fuck does that mean? So then I sat and then I thought,
well, it's the duality. It's there's a masculine and feminine in everything.
Yeah, sure.
It's where is it?
The yin and the yang?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of my, so let me see that tattoo real quick.
My wife has the opposite of it.
Okay. So, but it looks like
a whale.
I was going to say, it looks like you have some type of fish. So did you ever hear the story about the two fish chasing each other in Duality? All right. So, we're talking about self-rejection and self-acceptance here, okay? I had this client years ago, and I'm not going to say any names, obviously, but he went by two different nicknames. And one nickname was his past life when he lived in a different area outside of Scranton. And it was the drug dealer, the pimp, the guy who robbed people, like it's just the real grime of society, right? And then he had this other...
The broken people.
Correct, yeah. So then he had this other nickname of this guy that was in recovery, that was a good person, helped people, all these things, right? So the one day he's sitting in my office and we're talking, and he says, I just want to kill that old nickname part of me, right? I just want to kill him. I don't want him to come out, because if he comes out, he's the worst person alive, blah, blah, blah. And I hate what happens when he comes out. And I said, why do you want to kill that part of you so bad? Understand that part of you is a part of the whole, which is you. Right. So we look at the yin yang, and this is, I drew a yin yang on my whiteboard for him. So you have the black fish and the white fish. Okay. And when you look at the motion of them, they're chasing each other. Mm-hmm. Right. So let's just say the white fish represents good. The black fish represents evil. We'll go Shakespeare, medieval time, dark is evil, blah, blah, blah. So if the white fish catches the black fish, then the evil disappears. And if the black fish catches the white fish, then the good disappears. But in the process of catching, if the white fish catches the black fish and the black fish disappears, guess what else disappears?
Perspective?
The white fish.
Oh, because there's nothing to do now.
There's no duality.
Yeah.
So we have to have that duality in life.
I always told people, this is the problem I had with SSRIs.
Okay.
Do you know what a waveform is?
Waveform?
Yeah, like in music, you see the wave.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. I didn't know if it was a prescription drug or what.
No. So like so if you put a compressor on it, what it does is it brings up the lows and it smushes the highs, right? So you don't have the peaks and the troughs that you had.
Sure.
And I would always tell people, it's like, how do you understand love if you don't understand pain?
Absolutely.
How do you have perspective if you don't know?
You
it's
don't.
like the worst day of your life is the worst day of your life type shit.
Yeah.
If you don't have anything to compare
Everything's
that to.
gray.
Right.
You get that state of anhedonia.
That's why I don't like fucking psychotropic drugs. Because they ruin people.
They numb you. They blunt emotional responses. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not going to sit here and argue that.
Sure, you're less sad, but you're less happy too.
Yeah, you have nothing. You're apathetic, right?
Yeah.
And you're absolutely correct. And that's what I say with that duality conversation is you would not know pain if you didn't know joy. You would not know love if you didn't know hate. You would not know sun if you didn't know rain. So it's like experiencing life is being
it's a part of it,
right? It's being present. Like when I was younger in my 20s and partying like a fucking asshole, like I used to just think, "Fucking, this is life, man. This is it." Like,
isn't it great? No responsibility.
Yeah. But I wouldn't,
and I'm sad too. Yeah.
Well, but that's the thing. I wouldn't even know I was experiencing such a good time if I didn't experience such a low time.
Right.
But I didn't want to. I wasn't mentally and emotionally mature enough, nor capable, because I wasn't equipped with any of the skills at the time. Which is why I think they should be teaching CBT and DBT and REBT in schools to children. REBT is rational emotive behavioral therapy. CBT is cognitive behavior. They're all forms of cognitive behavioral
I think they should be teaching jujitsu. And
jujitsu's not a bad. Hey, dude, great discipline.
Yeah, but so Scranton's playing around with this. Scranton School District. Yeah.
Trying to get rid of the guns and bring in.
Well, it's good for conflict resolution. It's also good to understand your boundaries. It's also good for respect.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a terrible thing happening in this world where there's like absent dads and there's no positive male role models. And for some reason, over the last 10, 15 years, we've demonized masculinity and increased femininity, which is totally wrong. You know, it's like somebody said it to me one day where it's like, you know, the differences between men and women, because we're blurring the lines of them.
Sure.
Is that men and women are different for a reason because they're complementary.
Duality. Yeah.
They go together and they make this great thing. Sure. And that's why we can't like get rid of them. And there's, you know,
that's a great way to look at it, man. I never thought of it that way. Yeah.
Well, it goes to, it's the yin and the yang. You're just putting it together.
Absolutely.
And it makes the whole.
It makes the whole. Right. Yeah. Right.
And there's a lot of kids now who don't look, my parents, when they were raising me, they're just like, I want you to have a better life than I did. Right. Which is a great way to look at it. But you deny the pain. And when you deny the pain, you don't have a well-rounded person. Right. So that blackfish is way bigger than the whitefish.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I think there's a lot of kids that are going through that and they have to find, you know, sometimes it's good to get popped in the head.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good to you know, lose the game.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's good to not get a trophy.
Sure. Oh, God forbid.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that like, I'm hoping that whole mentality changes. And I'm hoping that there is, look, I'm for more masculinity. The only thing that builds bridges and saves the world is fucking strong men.
Yeah.
Not ones who are like, I'll kill you.
Yeah.
It's the ones, Jordan Peterson says
that's what I was thinking.
What men have to be capable of incredible violence and not do it.
Not be able to use it. It's I'd rather be a warrior.
Oh, I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Yeah. Just that ability. And that's another thing he said. He was like, the capability of aggression and violence is what keeps the psychopaths at bay.
Sure.
And that's why women are more attracted to men that have more of that protector dominant. It's like they're capable of it and they're the protector, right? You know, and I think about like what you're saying about masculinity. And I agree. There's been this mantra of toxic masculinity in society.
Well, and they're also somehow putting the stuff in our food to feminize people.
What's his name? Alex Jones? The frogs are
making
gay.
the frogs gay.
Making the frogs gay.
Yeah, and then you find out they are.
Well, there was like real biological changes or something.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
called what's it called? It's a certain
like a chemical or
yeah. It's like an endocrine disruptor.
Yeah.
And what it was doing is it was in the drinking water and it was feminizing frogs. And some frogs, they were actually changing sexes.
Yeah, and again, I can't say that's wrong.
See that right there? That's Alex Jones conspiracy bourbon.
That right there?
Yeah. And I wanted to get the Alex Jones was right jar.
Okay.
And just fill it up.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot. He's more right than wrong.
Okay.
And he's more right than most of the media.
Right.
Which is really crazy.
Yeah. And I think
because you call him a kook and then you dig into it and you're like, yeah, he's a character.
Well, and it's anything we reject, we just call it kook.
Yeah, because it's too hard.
It's
too
doesn't
hard
align with my belief, and you're goof.
I don't want to listen to it. I don't want to look at it.
Dude, I get that all the time with people when it comes to like medicine and doctors and healthcare, and I get this like, oh, here's this, he's conspiracy theorists and all that. Well, first of all, it's not a conspiracy to say that they have proven that the dyes they put in our food cause XYZ issues,
serious behavioral problems in children.
And developmental issues,
yes.
and what they do to the fetus when it's in the body.
I've had parents tell me, I know when my kids had red dye number 5.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, really?
Because you could see it, right? Yeah. So I think you get kind of grouped into that, like, oh, here we go, like RFK. Okay, listen, like again, I'm not a huge politician guy or politics guy. I don't get into it. But
poison is poison.
Yeah.
You don't need to be a politician.
Right. And I think where people go crazy is like when he starts talking about vaccines. And then it's like, well, he's not a healthcare professional. And he admitted he's not a healthcare professional.
Do you know how much time they spend in medical school on vaccinations? Like you go to school for 8 years or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
That's all they spend.
The same thing goes for nutrition.
Yes. I don't even think they teach nutrition.
They don't take nutrition. No, they don't learn nutrition.
They're not teaching people how to be healthy. They're doing sick care.
They're doing treat this. That's what healthcare in this country is. Present with a symptom.
Nothing preventative.
Right. I give you a diagnosis. Here's your treatment. We treat and keep the diagnoses or the symptoms at bay without all right. So one of my favorite stories Gary Brecka told, he said he was in school. I think he's 2 biology degrees or something like that. And he said,
I don't care how many fucking degrees you are. You could still be an idiot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't listen, dude. I don't take the whole school thing to heart, It's
elitist gobbledygook.
Yeah. Right. But some people will not entertain anything you say unless let me see those letters behind your name. Let me see that.
Is that peer reviewed?
Yeah. Right. But he said one of the most influential lessons he learned in human healthcare, he learned in a botany class. And he said that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So he goes, first of all, I'm going into this botany class and I'm thinking, why am I studying plants? I want to study human body and how things work and so on and so forth. And he said, so what happened was we get this tree, and this tree, the leaves are dying. And we're taught, I should say modern healthcare is taught to grab the leaf and examine the leaf and why is it dying and what's going on. Let's treat the leaf and see if we could change it. And he said that class taught me, don't touch the leaf, cultivate the soil.
Yep.
Find out what the soil is deficient in that the tree is growing in. You treat that deficiency. Now all of a sudden the leaves come back to life. And that bucks modern medicine, you know what I mean? And and you can go down the rabbit hole of is the pharmaceutical company running, companies running the country or whatever the case may be. But we don't, like, I look at blood pressure. I had a conversation with a girl yesterday. She's really getting frustrated because her doctor just keeps upping her. She's on 160 milligrams of a blood pressure medication.
No, get off it.
It's insane. Well, here's the thing. Her blood pressure's through the roof. Now, partly
what's in the soil?
Well, the thing that my scope of practice allows me to do with her is her sympathetic tone. I said, listen, if you're getting worked up every time you're taking your blood pressure and you're obsessive and you're thinking about it and you're worried, that will create a pressure rise. There's no doubt about it. That sympathetic tone, systolic pressure, oftentimes one of the main drivers is stress and worry, right? So that's where I focus on her. But now when I switch gears over to advocating for her with her physician, so I gave her a list of scans and blood works and tests to have to rule out, because when it looks at blood pressure is a tricky motherfucker. There could be 7 to 10 different things happening in the body that's causing the pressure to go up, right? So the doctor told her, well, we're not doing that scan because you don't have any cardiac issues. I'm trying to rule out. It's not about finding it. I'm trying to rule out everything.
Yeah, we're trying to eliminate suspects.
Yes, process of elimination. I said, tell your doctor you want us to statin C lab work. No, you don't need that.
Is she on statins?
No. Okay. But the cystatin C is a lab.
Cystatin.
Yep.
Okay.
Cystatin C. Okay. So cystatin C. And I just had a friend text me this morning. He was at his doctor. I'll read you the text message because this is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, go, because while you're looking for it, I want to find you something that somebody wrote.
So he texted me this morning. You ready for this?
Yeah.
First thing he says, I just left the doctor. He didn't know what a cystatin C was. And
great.
And he doesn't test for ApoB. So I said, ask him to, well, then I had a, and again, I'm not trying to sound like I'm smarter than a doctor, but I said, ask him to send you to the lab and that will test for ApoB, and cystatin C is a test that looks at kidney functionality. It's significantly more telling to kidney health than your bond nitrogen or creatinine levels, because those levels fluctuate, right? Like your standard CMP, your CBC, your lipid panels, those are, I tell people all the time, if you have, if you take 24 tests every hour on the hour every day, those numbers will fluctuate based off of how hydrated you are, what you just ate, how much movement you're having, so on and so forth. Your cystatin C is going to give an under the hood look at what's going on with the kidneys and how they're properly functioning.
Dude, read it out loud. Read it out loud.
If you have to fight to get comprehensive blood work, ask yourself why. I'm going to tell you why. Because the insurance companies won't cover it. So
why?
Because they don't want you healthy.
You know why?
Because you're less expensive dead.
Or they can make more money on you while you're living.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's all like Medicaid and insurance companies and all that shit. It's like the incentive structure is all fucked up to keep us sick. Sure.
And so this lady yesterday, she was just furious and I told her, I said, listen.
Now I want steak and eggs for dinner.
I said, call the doctor. I said, be polite, And I said, because at the end of the day, what's a doctor called? A provider, meaning they're providing for you. So in a perfect
world, to mean fucking doctor.
Right. In a perfect world, I learned this when I worked in medical sales. Doctors don't dictate healthcare.
You worked in medical sales?
Companies. I did, yeah.
I'm going to send you all this stuff. You're going to be like, oh yeah, I know what all this is.
Well, no, hold on. I worked in wound care. So I worked.
Yeah, but it's just like whether it's sales for like equipment, medicine, whatever. I'm gonna send you. Got to listen to this Brigham Bueller guy. He's unbelievable.
But that's where I learned it. I learned at that. It was 2018, I think. It was right after I got sober. I got hired by this company, and I started going in with doctors and reconstructive surgeons and wound care experts and panels at these hospital systems, and I'm pitching a product or whatever the case may be, and I realized I'm like, these doctors have no control. Like they could do whatever they want. The very first product I would pitch, the first question the doctor would ask me is it covered by insurance? Because if it's first question, is it covered by insurance? What insurances cover it? That's usually the follow-up. And I learned at that point, I'm like, dude, these guys, their hands are tied. So like
they can't help anybody.
No. And it's
oh, Kyle.
It's excruciating, dude. Well, that's why I do like what I do. That's why I study the way I study.
They literally can't help people.
No, dude, there was a diabetic foot ulcer.
Can you imagine? Can you fucking imagine? Like what? Remember Field of Dreams?
Oh, yeah.
Why can't we get doctors like that? Like what happened to that?
Because it's about the almighty dollar now.
But have we as a country made it impossible for that doctor to exist?
Listen, we are, as an industrialized nation, the sickest nation on this planet.
Yeah, but Kennedy says it all the time,
and that's sickening in and of itself.
I think it's on purpose.
I can't say I disagree with it.
I think that this is all.
Well, check this out too. It gets even grimier. I sold a diabetic, so it was called Omnigraft, and the specific indication was for diabetic foot ulcers, and it was proven in trials to heal wounds within 6 applications. So I would pitch this to the doctors and I would say, hey, look how great my product is. It heals wounds within 6 applications specific to diabetic foot ulcers. And I had a doctor down in Harrisburg tell me, well, the graft I use now is working, and it works usually within 12 to 15 applications. And I said, well, yeah, this will work in 6. And he said, well, then why do I want yours when I could bill for 15 of them?
No.
And I was like,
I can't beat that.
Dude, yeah. Because he's reimbursed for every application. So why would he want to be reimbursed by 6 when he can get reimbursed by 15? And he's still going to get the same result. The almighty dollar.
Yeah, but think about like
that's malpractice if you ask me.
Yeah, but think about the darkness of that. He's willing to harm his patient longer to make more. Now, I don't think he's Mengele.
Yeah, right.
I don't think he's doing like, but
if he knows he's still going to get the same effect and result off 15 and get reimbursed for 15, why would he take the one that reimburses in 6 and improve the client's quality?
Yeah, but like, so if you look at like how many times they have to do that, you're lengthening the amount of time of healing.
Absolutely.
To make money.
Yeah. And then
tell me that's not fucked up.
It's malpractice if you ask me. And then, because I remember I was so pissed about
this whole system's broke.
Dude, and I remember calling my sales manager and I was like, hold on, I think our whole marketing pitch is not going to work here because these guys might not want this if they don't have to make it, purchase as many applications, And then we shift gears back to the insurances. So I remember I had doctors that would tell me like they'd send the report or the request to the insurance would kick it back. Nope, we want you to try XYZ before you do that. Then he would do this and he would send the
yeah, but then they're the doctors. Why the fuck are they telling people what to do?
They dictate healthcare.
Why isn't the doctor telling people?
So then guess what happens? The doctor strikes out for over 2 years trying to get this person the proper care. Now the person has to get the amputation done, which by the way, increases mortality, all-cause mortality by 50% once you have a limb amputated. And then once that happens, now all of a sudden the insurance is like, we're not going to cover the amputation because not enough measures were taken. And the doctor's like, I've been fucking trying to get these goddamn measures taken for 3 fucking years with you people. Like,
how do we as a fucking country allow this? How do we that's so crazy. That's so fucking crazy. Like I want to manifest this shit to go away.
Well, and I had my 12-year-old, so I went to her wellness checkup with her doctor last week, right? And so back in July, I found out through blood work that I have it's called a lipoprotein A.
AIDS? Oh.
No, not AIDS. Not AIDS. Somehow I missed that one.
Nick.
But anyways, I always think of that. There's like a genetic gene mutation, and I hate saying this because it's not funny because there's a lot of people that suffered and died from AIDS, but there's a genetic...
Did they?
I mean, that's what they tell me.
Did they?
But there's a specific gene mutation.
AZT had nothing to do with
AZT. No, I'm talking about, yeah, you're right. But there's a specific gene mutation that like 0.001% of the population has where HIV cannot penetrate the cells in a body. And I remember thinking like through my reckless lifestyle in my 20s, I'm like, I wonder if I have that gene mutation.
Yeah.
Because I was pretty fucking reckless, man. But no, so it's called lipoprotein A. I don't know if you ever heard of that. Okay, so in the world of cholesterol, again, a very villainized hormone.
Cholesterol's good for you.
Cholesterol's the king hormone. Every hormone responds and interacts. And
most of what your brain's made of.
Cholesterol, yeah. So Brecca says, cholesterol is always villainized because it's always at the scene of the crime, yet it may not have caused the crime.
Yeah.
Or perpetrated the crime. So lipoprotein A is so when you think of cholesterol, you want to think of buoyancy molecules, right? So the larger the cholesterol molecule, the better and safer and more protective it is. So your HDL, your good cholesterol are very large buoyant molecules of cholesterol. And then as you go down, you want to kind of compare them to like balls. So your HDL is going to be like your beach ball. And then as you go down to your like LDL, your quote unquote bad, they're more of like basketballs. And then you go down into the world of like the VLDLs, the very low dense lipoproteins. And then they're more of like your tennis balls. And then you get down to the world of like your ApoB and lipo A, then you get into like golf balls and ping pongs. So the smaller a cholesterol molecule is, the easier it can penetrate the arterial walls of the heart or the arteries and create sticky plaque, right? So lipoprotein A is the smallest form of cholesterol in the human body, and it's 100% genetically predisposed. So it has to do with your body's livers metabolizing, mobilizing, and packaging of the cholesterol. So it's a one-time test. You get it once in your life because it's the number. There's no treatment for it available. There's absolutely no lifestyle modification available. You can't crush it into the ground with statins. You can't beat it with running and eating healthy and so on and so forth. It's one of those markers that you get tested to let you know, hey, you got this bastard in you, and keep an eye on everything else because you have to balance your entire other profile now in preparation for what this could possibly do. So I got mine tested in July. They want the number 75, I think it's 75 nanometers or nanometer, NML, or less. And if you test 75 or less, you're essentially at an average risk of heart disease, essentially meaning like, if you smoke, you drink, you don't take care of yourself, so on and so forth. If you test 75 or higher, you're at a significantly higher risk for heart disease because no matter what you do, no matter how healthy you live, because there's no treatment available for it, that son of a bitch is getting in there and it's going to cause havoc. So I tested mine in July and I was 140. Now, I had this quote unquote family history of heart disease, right? So my father had triple bypass when he was in his early 50s. His father had his first heart attack at 40. His father's brothers died in their 40s of heart attacks. So I knew at 38 years old, I was kind of knocking on the door of like, holy shit. Plus I lived recklessly addicted to cocaine and alcohol and cigarettes for 12 years. So I got the number tested and I'm like, oh shit, I got it. So Now, what can I do? I can't attack that directly because there's nothing that will attack it. So I have to indirectly attack it by creating an environment. This is where epigenetics come in. So I have to decrease my oxidative stress, decrease my endothelial stress, decrease my inflammation in the body. Because if I can't stop that from producing, I got to give it an environment where it can't express itself in, right? So with that being said,
seems like an insurance company would be against you doing this.
Oh, dude, they're like, bro, no, go back to the McDonald's, man. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And again, they don't test for this. And like the guy I just read you the text message he sent me this morning, doctors don't even want to test for it. So I'm in the pediatrician's office with my daughter last week. And I said, she said, oh, well, hey, we're going to get her some blood work drawn. I said, oh, that's great. I was like, that's actually why I came today instead of her mother. She said, yeah, we're going to do a lipids and a CBC. We want to do an A1C and all that stuff. I said, well, can we also request an ApoB and an LPA? And the doctor said, why do you want an LPA? And I said, well, my first asshole instinct is because I fucking said so.
Yeah.
But no, I said, well, we have a family history of hypocholesterolemia. I tested high for the LPA. My father tested high. My brothers tested high. So, obviously you could test after the age of 10 years old for the LPA. And again, once you get that blood work done, it's pretty much set in stone. The number fluctuates here and there. So I want her to test it for it. So then she says to me, is the insurance going to cover it? I'm like,
she said to you?
Yes.
The doctor said to you?
Yes. So now I'm thinking in my head, and how I responded to her depends on how you write it up. So I said, you have to explain that these precipitating factors are present, and this is why we need that test done. So she said, well, I recommend, she's like, I'll put it on the lab order, but I would recommend you contacting the insurance to see if they'll cover it. So I even told, and this is where.
This is fucking madness.
Well, bro, this is where the problem comes up, this is why there's a lot of resistance from these doctors to do these more elaborate, complex tests is, that's a lot of work for them. Now, I'm not calling doctors lazy. Don't get
no, but it's not a bug of the system. It's a feature.
Yes,
it's made so that it is a lot of hard work for them. It shouldn't be.
Yeah, don't come bothering us with it, right? So now the doctor writes up this report, and then the lab or the insurance kicks it back and says, no, we're not covering it. So now the doctor's got to write another report to say why this is important for that they cover it, and they kick away, and that's ultimately determined upon them. So they're on their mother's insurance. So I talked to their mother the other day, and I said, hey, listen, I'm just going to take her for lab work on Saturday. I said, if the insurance doesn't cover it, you're going to get a bill. When we get the bill, we call the insurance and say, hey, because of these reasons and because of the way the doctor wrote it up, this needs to be covered. If they fight it again, I was like, I'll pay out of pocket. It's fucking $60, $70. And that's the other thing. You're going to tell me Blue Cross Blue Shield is that hard up for money? They're not going to be willing to cover a $60 blood test?
No,
it's insane.
They don't want you to get better.
Right, exactly.
They want you sick.
Bingo. So now when they don't test for
cradle to the grave.
Right. They don't. So now this guy, like the one I was just telling, so you had the lady I was talking about yesterday, whose doctor's like, you don't need all that work.
Yeah, you do, motherfucker.
Right. And because I want it. And then he's texting me this morning. He's like, well, I talked to my doctor. He doesn't know what a cystatin C even is. And he doesn't think I need an ApoB, or he doesn't.
Oh, we're fucked.
Yeah. So
we're so fucked.
And this is a part of what I do now is like, I try to help empower people to advocate for their health. Like
you're the only one that's gonna.
Yeah.
The doctors don't do what they used to do.
Sure.
They never needed all this permission. Mm-hmm. They ordered the test. Oh, why'd you order the test? Because I'm the doctor. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're done.
I'm the one who understands healthcare and what this person needs. But the problem is they're paying for it. And because the infrastructure of the whole healthcare system that's built upon money and all this type of shit.
We are cattle.
Dude, it sucks.
We are
really
cattle.
Sucks. So now, and then when I start talking about,
and now your daughter's cattle, which pisses me off.
Right? Yeah. Well, and then I told her, like, even though there's no treatment for it, that doesn't mean it's like the lipoprotein A is the story of like the 45-year-old guy that everybody knows who's like in decent shape. He's like, doesn't work.
Drop dead. Don't know why.
Yeah, we don't know why. Oh my God, all his arteries were clogged. I can't believe it. Well, yeah, because for 40 some years he had this lipoprotein A at a sky high level that no one ever knew because they don't know how to treat it, so they don't test for it. They do not test for lipoprotein A because they don't know how to treat it.
We're fucked.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, we've been going 2.5.
Solid.
Tell me about how people can get in touch with you, how they can what to look forward to. I mean, we talked about a lot of shit.
Yeah,
but like
dude.
I'd want them to know how to contact you and what kind of help you could offer them.
Right. So as of right this moment now, anybody can contact me on my social media.
Also, I do want to talk for another 4 hours, but I just don't want.
We could throw part 2 together.
Yeah, we'll do that.
We didn't even get into gambling today. That was like, I love talking gambling.
I don't.
So I was talking to a guy yesterday, a guy I'm actually going to be my company and his company are gonna partner up a little bit in the next few months. And he said to me, he goes, oh, he's like, I heard you talking about the gamble. And I was like, yeah. He's like, I got it bad. And I was like, oh yeah, dude, it's pretty. He's like, no. He's like, 10 grand a month bad. And I was like,
that's terrible.
Oh, dude, you should see some of the numbers with the people that I've worked with. But anyways, going back to it. So as of right this current moment now, anyone can contact me on my social media pages, my personal pages. So Facebook, Kyle Popish, Instagram, I think it's _K Popish 2. I have a LinkedIn page, things of that nature. I just opened my LLC 2 weeks ago, either early last week or whatever the case was. So Sean's brother Ryan is working with me right now. We're developing a website. He's doing all the web design and the contact information. On the website, I'm going to create it so it's an about me page, and then services offered, and then how to contact me. Submit something along those lines. I'm very, very active on social media though, so people can always. I get messages all the time from.
Do you have a website? Do you have a web address for the website?
Yeah, so it's wholepathwellness.com, but it's wholepath-wellness. Now, don't go on it yet because he's working on it. So it's live.
This isn't going to come out for like a week and a half.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. So
even if he gets a fucking landing page with a contact thing on there,
yeah. So we're shooting for probably end of March. Because I still have to develop everything that I want on it, send it to him, so on and so forth. But yeah, we're going to shoot for that. But in the meantime, or even in lieu of that, anybody that knows me can get a hold of me on social media. I'm relatively active when it comes to posting and things like that. But again, I get messages from people all the time. It's like, hey, I'm looking for this. And here's the other thing I really, really want people to understand. I operate within my scope of practice. Okay, so you could hear all the stuff I could regurgitate and tell you about healthcare, and I have no problem educating people on blood work and educating them on their health and helping advocate for their doctors and their mental health and trauma. But I am not a doctor. I am not a certified trauma therapist. I live and die by the ethical code of I never put a client in harm's way. So if something
the Hippocratic oath of do no harm.
Yeah, that's how I live.
Unless you have to ask the insurance company for permission.
Unless I get paid for 15 applications versus 6 applications.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I just don't want to ever put a client in harm's way. So, behavioral change is the real driving point of what my company's about. Okay, so I'm certified through Pennsylvania Certification Board in addiction counseling, gambling counseling, recovery specialist, and then I'm certified through NASM, National Academy of Sports Medicine, in personal training, nutrition coaching, wellness coaching, and behavioral change. But I want to umbrella all of that under behavioral change. So anyone that has maladaptive behaviors in their life that they just can't get a hold of, come to me. And that's what my services and what my company's going to have to offer, which is we're going to sit down and we're going to figure out, what it is behind your belief system that's going on, what it is that's going on in your day-to-day life that's a problem. How problematic is it, right? Because, it's when problems are maladaptive and they're really causing distress in a human being's life, eventually they get to a point where it's like, I'll do anything to fix this. Right?
That's why I took mushrooms. I was ready to eat cat shit.
Yeah.
I said,
what did you gave me the analogy, the toaster in the bathtub.
I was ready to throw the toaster in the bathtub.
Yeah.
But I was also like, if you tell me eating cat shit is going to make me feel better,
you do it.
Yeah, I would do it.
Yeah.
So I just Drana mode into it.
Yeah.
Have you ever done it?
So that's funny you say that, because I was just, as all the stuff we were talking about, my belief system on existence and consciousness and God concept, and we're not really here and none of this really matters. I've never taken a psychedelic a day in my life.
I didn't until 2020. I used to tell people, like, because I was in high school, people were like, yeah, we took mushrooms and it took us 7 hours to walk 30 feet. And I'm like, that sounds terrible. Why would I want that?
Right.
And what I realized was it's not meant to be like you take it and you go to like an Allman Brothers concert.
Yes.
It's not, I mean, not what you're supposed to, like, so there's dosage amounts.
Sure.
Right. And the hero dose is the one that like helps you break through the veil.
Yeah.
Everything before that they call like a museum dose or something where like you can go like, oh, that's a great painting.
Yeah.
I just really never really, and you just take the beauty in it, or like a hike.
Sure.
But there's a certain threshold where anything over that, you're meeting Jesus.
Yeah.
And you have to do it setting intention. So your mindset, the place you're at, and what you want to get out of it. And the crazy thing about it is like my first time I did it, I had it all planned out. And that day I got in the biggest fucking fight with my mother.
Oh no, fucked everything up.
But it didn't.
No.
Because I was like, okay, like this is just like, I needed this to happen.
Yeah.
I needed this terrible moment to happen. And I'll tell you what, it was a 600,000 mile skydive without a parachute while going through six years of intense psychotherapy in 5 hours. But I said, I recommend this to no one and everyone should do it.
Yeah, I like that. That's
you know
smart.
what I mean?
Free yourself of any
But the last one, you know, you were talking about your dad before. And, you know, she's pretty spot on when she does that stuff. I don't know how she does it.
She's great. Yeah.
And the last one I did, so I'll just tell you about this and then because I just think, people should hear about the experiences so that they're not apprehensive to the experiences.
Now, are you talking about the psychedelics?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like families always have problems, right? And, you know, like she says with the masculine and the feminine, my mom and I, my dad and I, my sister, my wife, we all have problems and we all have things that like we want to work on. And the last time I did it, I went to Central PA and they made a tea and it was me and 7 women.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was the only dude there doing it.
Okay.
The day before we did it, they all called me a white colonizer.
Oh, what?
And I'm like, ugh.
You stole the land, dude.
I'm like, fuck.
You stole the land.
So the next day we were doing it, they gave us a tea. We all drank the tea. We went to our respective rooms or couches or whatever the fuck it is. We were all blindfolded. It's recommended to be blindfolded.
Okay.
Because the experience is supposed to be here.
Was this like that Aaron Rodgers darkroom stuff?
No, he did a thing. He did like 72 hours in a dark room with like, it's almost like a sensory deprivation thing, which I thought was, if I had the money, I would try that.
Can't you just go in a room and close the door for 3 days?
No, it's totally like the crazy thing about it is, so there are things that could take you out of it.
Okay.
And you don't want those distractions.
Sure.
So there's playlists like Johns Hopkins has a playlist and all these other people on the internet make playlists for if you want to go on your 5-6 hour mushroom journey. And so we did the tea and it usually takes like 45 minutes to kick in. 10 minutes, man.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like blast off. My legs were shit. Do you ever get like so cold that you just fucking shake?
Yeah.
My legs were just and the guy that was there holding the space came over and he put his hands on my heart and my head. And he goes, man, it's just your body getting used to the medicine. And I was like, oh, you're right. And it stopped.
You felt peaceful when he said
immediately when he said that.
Now, were you feeling like intense anxiety?
It starts to creep up.
Yeah.
Right? And you start to, it comes in like the whole thing about like, it's interesting that we talk about like frequency and stuff because it comes in waves. There are peaks and troughs.
Right.
And immediately, like once I accepted it, because that's what you have to do. You have to surrender. You can't, it's a roller coaster ride. You're like, whatever's next is next. I can't stop it. And let's just show me.
I'm here.
I'm like, if your mindset is like, what do you want to show me now?
Yeah. And
you'll be awesome through it. It's when people resist it. Sure. That's when you hear about people having like bad trips and
again,
shit.
That applies to life. You're right.
Well, I mean, it was so profound to me because the first time I did it, I didn't know what to expect. And this time I knew what to expect. And I was immediately, I swear to God, or whatever it is. Yeah. I was in ancient Egypt flying with hawks.
Wow.
Over the pyramids.
Stop.
Swear to God. And it was like blues and purples. And it's not like you don't like see shit. Like they tell you,
like hallucinations, like dwarfs.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not. You're in this state of acceptance where reality is not what it is. And then all of a sudden it went dark. And when it went dark, I was in the center of the universe. And it was like, do you ever see like a still lake on a dark night?
Sure.
And
it's like glassy almost.
Yeah, you can't see. And out of it came. Do you know what obsidian is?
No.
So back in like the ancient times, it's like this dark, glossy rock.
Okay.
And it looks like lava rocks or something like that, but it's smooth. It has a reflection. And this fucking figure comes out. And I'm like, oh, it's my wife. Like my wife is the center of my universe.
Wow.
Right. And that was like the first, like I would say the first 10th of the experience.
Yeah.
And then I accepted that and it was beautiful. And then I spent the next 9-10 moments dealing with my dad.
Okay.
And it was really profound.
Was it like intense? Like a real, like a
no, I cried. I cried for like 4.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like good. It was like good, like grateful tears.
Sure.
Yeah. It wasn't like evil. It wasn't pain. It wasn't any of that. It was like, it was just realizing that we hold people in like this esteem, and they're just normal people. They have fears, they have wants, they have desires, they have all these things, and we can't hold it against them. And that was kind of like, one day I'm the white. And so anyways, at one point I said, I love my wife. And I said it out loud.
Yeah.
And the girl who was like 2 couches away told me the next morning, she goes, I was having a rough time until I heard you say that.
Wow.
Yeah. And
that
then
like centered her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then all the women that thought I was a white colonizer the next day were like, thank you for your masculine energy. If it wasn't there, we would have been fucked.
Yeah, seriously. You created like an equilibrium all of a sudden.
It had like that, but that's the thing that like I look at the world in those concepts of the, like you said, the duality, the yin, the yang, all that stuff. And we have to look at the world that way. If we don't look at it that way, it's just total pain.
Well, and again, you cannot be, as I mentioned with that client earlier with the 2 sides, you cannot know the good until you know the bad.
Yeah.
There's nothing to compare it to. So it's about, you'll never be in a state of full self-acceptance if you continue to, that's Carl Jung's work, shadow work.
Some of the most well-rounded people I know have been through hell.
Absolutely. But again, it's that acceptance and embracing.
Yep.
Embrace that part of you that you hate. Doesn't mean you have to become it. It doesn't mean you have to behave that way. Most of the time, the more we resist, the more something persists.
Sure.
So it's like we surrender, like you had mentioned, and we accept that part of me is there, and I don't have to like it, I don't have to love it, but I have to accept that it's there, and because it's a part of me. And that's the tagline behind my company. It's whole path wellness. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Yep.
And that's why I couple into the addiction stuff, the nutrition stuff, the physical wellness stuff, the mental and spiritual wellness stuff, because it's all a part of one operating system. And you cannot.
Yeah, but when it's functioning, when it's all together, it's like it creates this new
bliss,
greater, brighter thing.
Yeah. It's enlightenment.
Totally.
That's what it is. And so many people I've seen in my years of working with people in this capacity is they'll put so much focus and energy in this one area of their life, and they start to neglect and that's why, like, the form of treatment I do with drug addiction, alcohol addiction, gambling addiction, I do things in the community with people. I don't like to sit in these clinical offices anymore.
It's terrible.
Right. I take guys to the gym. I take guys golfing. I take guys, for the Super Bowl, I had a couple of my guys over the house. We ordered food and we all watched the Super Bowl together. Like, you got to get people excited to be alive, right? The archaic way of doing treatment is just not working anymore. And just like anything, it's evolve or die. I'm not saying that 12 steps and 90/90 and AA meetings are not still effective, because they're absolutely effective.
For some they are.
Yeah. For some people they're absolutely
3%.
effective. Very small number. But like myself included, like I tell people that all the time, like if I didn't do the 12 steps, I don't know if I would have remained sober. I don't know.
The 12 steps are important, but it's the self-actualization.
Yes.
That's all it is.
That's exactly that.
The only thing I don't agree with is the higher power being whatever you want it to be. That's the only thing I don't agree with.
See, and
I simplified it. People, places, and things. The people you hang out with, the places you go, the things that you do.
Yeah.
Those play a huge part in how you respond to
You're
that.
the sum of your 5 closest friends.
Yep.
If you ever want to know anything about your characteristic or your personality, look at the 5 people you surround yourself with the most. And that's going to tell you a lot about who you are in that moment. So if you're hanging out with, 5 people you're hanging out with, or, doing drugs and not going anywhere in their life or whatever, that's going to really summarize where you're headed, but if you're hanging out with people that are, goal oriented and just do the things you want to do, it doesn't have to be like you don't have to go hang out with guys that own real estate.
It's insane. It's insane how the positive reinforcement of friendships, especially like for men, for male friendships.
Yes. Connection.
And the ability to if you hang around with successful people and happy people, you want to be happy and successful.
Yeah, you will become it.
Yeah,
absolutely. And that's where, that connection, there was a great TED talk years ago. The opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection. And they used Rat Park as one of the primary examples. Rat Park. Did you ever hear
is that the one where they gave the rats everything they wanted and they just died? No. So in the original, so they were essentially trying to prove the idea of a chemical hook, I believe, at least in the original experiment. Oh, that's the one where they gave them drugs?
Yes. So
but then they gave them like fun stuff and shit to do, and they never went back to the drugs.
So the original experiment, you placed a rat by himself in a cage, you put cocaine and morphine in one bottle, and you put water in the other bottle.
Yeah.
And the rat became addicted to the cocaine, morphine, and eventually died. So they're saying, oh my God, look how potent these drugs are. Once you start taking them, they're going to kill you.
Yeah.
What they failed to realize in that experiment is there's nothing else in this rat's life except for cocaine and morphine. So then years later in the 70s, because I think the original experiment was done in the late 50s, early 60s, to
justify the use of all these things.
Well, but to more like, this is like when we talk about
that the only option is drugs or water.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But so like, this is also when we talk about like Just Say No or Nixon's war on drugs, right?
Yeah.
Like, these were mismanaged
Newsflash,
programs.
the drugs won.
Right. Yeah, but they were mismanaged because we were attacking the drugs. Like even when I was a kid, like I remember my parents saying to me, if you use heroin one time in your life, you're going to be addicted for the rest of your life. That's not true, because there's a lot of people that go to, have major surgeries done. They get morphine drips that walk out of the hospital completely free.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people who hurt their ankle and their drug gives them oxy.
Or that. Yeah. I stubbed my toe and here's 30 perks.
Yeah.
The Vietnam War was another great example of that. In the Vietnam War.
They were doing heroin over there and then they came back and didn't.
Opium. Yeah. They were smoking opium all the time. And the government was like, holy shit, we're going to have all these heroin addicts when they come back. And they've done studies where I
remember looking at these studies. Yeah.
They followed these people, and once they reintegrated into society and reintegrated into their communities and their religious affiliations and their jobs and their families, they no longer needed it. So in Rat Park, they, instead of taking the rat, placing him in a solitary cage with just drugs and water options, they put the rats in this massive park with other rats that they could have sex with. They had cheese, they had mazes, they had toys, they had guns, and the rats did not go for the morphine and cocaine because they had other things in life that brought them pleasure. And that's one of the focal points of my treatment with clients is,
Park.
Like, let's go to the gym. I got guys, I take them to the gym. I got guys I take golfing with me. I got guys that we go for dinner. Like I said, have guys over for the Super Bowl. Like, get people excited about life. And I really believe one of my favorite analogies with addictions is it's like walking through a garden and everything's gray. So you could see the outline of all these floral bouquets, but they're gray. And in the corner of your eye, you catch this red rose bush that captivates you and sucks you in, and it takes you to somewhere you've never been before, and you're just like engulfed in it. It's everything to you. And that's what addiction is we connect with this substance or behavior because it gives me a feeling that I've been chasing the rest of my entire life, either to feel something or to not feel something. And it's got me. The art of recovery is about picking up a paintbrush and painting the rest of the garden and making everything have this beautiful array of things, because all of a sudden now that red rose bush is not the most captivating thing in the garden, and you
everything around you is the most captivating.
Yeah. You have to build a life. You have to create a life that is fulfilling and meaningful and gives you a sense of purpose and a sense of belonging and a sense of connection. And once you've obtained that, methamphetamine doesn't have that type of hold on you anymore. Like, bro, if you're fucking living in your mom's basement and you're 42 years old and you got no job and no girlfriend and no car and everything sucks, meth is really appealing, dude.
Yeah.
But if you got goals in life, you're working a job you like, or at least don't hate, you're saving up for goals and you have these activities and hobbies and these things that you could do with people that bring you so much pleasure, it just doesn't appeal to you anymore. It doesn't have that type of stronghold on you anymore. And that's really what it is I try to do with people. It's like, hey, dude, let's get excited to be alive. Like, let's get excited to be in life now, and let's go out there and create. And let's do the things you've always wanted to do. And hey, guess what? If you fuck them up and it doesn't work, all right, big deal. Let's move on to the next one.
Everybody fails.
Yeah, dude. The only true failure in life is giving up. If you just give up, that's the only true failure. Because again, going back to process oriented, what did I learn in the process? I mean, dude, there's been so many things over the last few years of my life that I've been sober that I have done that I haven't done well, or I should say I didn't succeed at the original goal. But boy, did I learn a lot. I had experiences with employers, where it was like, I thought one thing and then like things blew up and it wasn't what I thought it was. And like, oh my God, what a bad experience. But then I could take a step back and say, no, but I learned a lot in that experience, man. That bad experience taught me a lot of shit.
I have a guy, he's been on my podcast before, but he's coming back on hopefully next week or the week after. And he was in jail for like 4.5 months because he wouldn't pay like a $400 fine.
Okay.
And I think he was put in jail unconstitutionally and all this shit. But he would call me up and we would have these conversations that he demanded I recorded. And
from prison,
yeah, because he wanted to be like, in case something happens to me, I want this on the record. And finally, one time I'm like, dude, just pay the fine.
Yeah. He's
like, no. I said, you're losing. He goes, I'm not losing. I'm learning. And I was like, okay. Like I'll never forget that. That was such I'm sure other people have said it, but when he said it, it really meant something to me. Where he's like, I'm not losing. I'm learning.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so profound for people who are trying to overcome something or who attempt something and aren't successful at it.
Yeah.
I'm not losing, I'm learning.
Yeah. And it would really boil down to like, what's, I don't know. In my opinion, like hearing a story like that, to me, my freedom is more valuable than anything. I don't mean just freedom from being locked in a jail, but my freedom to do what I want to do when I want to do it. Like that shit's valuable, dude.
Well, this is why I have a problem with people trying to get rid of fuck with the First Amendment.
Because freedom of speech, yeah.
Well, it's not just freedom of speech. It's not just freedom of the words that you can say. It's freedom of the things that you can think.
Oh yeah.
And that's why it bothers me when they try to take that away, because just like we can do this in 15 treatments and bill for it.
Yeah.
People aren't allowed to think the right things if there's things that aren't allowed to be spoken about.
Yeah.
And it doesn't allow critical thinking, and it doesn't allow you to formulate your own opinions. Because like I said, everybody's their own universe. Yeah. Why are you denying my universe?
Well, and again, that goes back to does the government just want sheep? They just want obedient sheep and don't be a critical thinker.
Well, yeah, they make money off of us. Yeah. That's all that that's why, why do you think they push the controversial take? But why do you think they pushed the women to get into the workforce? It wasn't for women empowerment. It was to double the tax revenue.
Okay. I mean, I could see that being a...
if you 35,000 foot view ask any woman in this country, would you rather stay home and take the kids, or would you rather go to the job? Most of them would say...
Well, then the other thing too is they create an economy where you don't have a choice anymore.
Right.
You can't, unless you're making $250K a year, on a single income.
When I went to film school, they told us that we needed $6 million to retire. And I was like, holy fuck. And that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a lot.
Oh, I've heard financial guys, when I was with companies that were rolling out 401k plans where they talked about your retirement, and they were like, yeah, so if you put X amount away here and how things mature and how things, compound and all this, that, and the other. And it's like, yeah, you're going to need about, $8 to $10 million. And I'm like, why not? I'm like, wait, $8 to $10 million?
Yeah.
First of all, I don't even think I'm going to make $8 to $10 million in my life. How the hell am I going to fucking have that money?
Yeah, and you know what? And nobody thinks to themselves like, why is this what they're telling? How did it come to this? My grandparents didn't need that.
No, dude. Well, go look at people. Did you ever see when I was in rehab, they showed this film. It wasn't The Pursuit of Happiness, Will Smith, but it was a documentary on happiness. And it was like a Saturday morning where nothing was going on. So they just had us watch this movie. And it opens up with these two kids, which I'm assuming it was like Brazil or something. And they were in one of these bungalow style, the streets all dirt, no shoes on, shirt, t-shirt. They're kicking a soccer ball around. They're having a blast. And the camera follows the kids into the bungalow, and they're all sitting around this giant pot of what appears to be just rice. And the mother's dishing it out in bowls, and the narrator's talking and the people are laughing and blah, blah, blah. And then the next day, the father, he works as, I forget the name of the role where he holds the carriages and drives.
Oh yeah. He's like a taxi driver.
Yeah, he's like an Uber
rickshaw.
with his rickshaw. Yes. So he's like, and then but he's looking happy and blah blah blah. Then they cut to a drone aerial view of New York City, and it's just like the rat race, everybody moving in every which direction. And they were stopping people on the street, and they were like, well, what would make your life better? What would make you more happy? And almost every answer was more money. If I had more money, I had more money. And they contrasted the beginning, the opening of these people that, based on our standards, have nothing. They got a soccer ball and a pot of rice in a fucking bungalow they live in, and they're happier than pigs in shit. And then they look at this industrialized nation of consumerism and capitalism, and everybody's like, no, more money will make me happy, more money. Dude, I'm not going to sit here and lie to anyone. money does make life more comfortable. I will not, in my opinion, it does make it more comfortable. But look at every professional athlete, every musician, every actor who's ever committed suicide or been addicted to drugs and alcohol. They are glaring examples of money does not buy happiness. You can have all the money in the world and still be miserable on the inside, right? Again, is it more comfortable? Because you could talk to people that live in
but those people are devoid of spirit. You know what I mean? And that's like, I used to say this before I, started understanding all the things that I've met garbage men who are incredibly happy, and I've met CEOs who are incredibly sad,
miserable. Yeah.
So what are the Brazilian? What's the third world doing different that we should really look into and try to emulate?
So because
they're not wrong.
Have you ever read the book Zen and the Art of Happiness?
No, I don't read books.
Okay. So Chris Prentice, he's one of the co-founders of the Malibu Passages treatment centers. They're like all over the world, right?
Oh, it's what's it called? It's not Passages. It's I know what you're talking
Malibu
about, though.
Ranch or something like that.
Yeah, it's like where all the celebs go for rehab.
Yeah, the ones out in California. We have one here in, I think it's in Pike County. There's a Malibu Ranch.
Okay.
So anyways, he wrote this book. It's called Zen and the Art of Happiness. And at the beginning of the book, actually one of my clients who was in jail gave it to me because he said, dude, I read this book and it like changed everything for me. So in the beginning of the book, you open it up and it says, he's talking about happiness and how to be happy and blah, blah, blah. So he says, people come to me all the time and they say, Chris, how can I obtain everlasting happiness? Like, I just want to be happy for the rest of my life. Like, what do I got to do? And he says, I have it. I have something for you. He said, I promise you money back guarantee no matter what. If you do this, it is guaranteed you will be happy for the rest of your life. The rest of your life, you'll be happy. And they were like, what is it? What do I have to do? And he said, be happy. That's it. Just be happy. So he further goes on in that chapter, and he uses the word God because I believe Malibu is a faith-based recovery type of a program. So, but
God ain't a dirty word, Kyle.
No, I'm not. No, listen. I believe.
You try to cover your ass with other people listening.
I believe in the concept of God, but I had a friend that was he used to always say like, oh, don't talk to Kyle about God. He doesn't believe in God. I'm like, dude, just because I don't believe that some dude up there saying like, here's the next chess piece in Kyle's life.
No, I don't believe. I think we always need to clarify that. Like, I believe probably like you that it's not like the cartoon character that they told us it is.
It's a concept, right? So, so he says in the chapter after he says just be happy, he says imagine God comes to you and says, Mark, listen, I promise you, no matter how bad this situation looks, no matter how unjust and unfair what's unfolding right now in front of you is, you have my word. On the other side of it is nothing but good fortune. You have my promise. I would not lie to you. On the other side of however shitty this situation looks to you right now, you will have nothing but good fortune from it. You would never look at a situation again and saying like, this is terrible, because you know on the other side of this is going to be nothing but good. So like, there's no such thing as a bad situation or terrible anymore. Like all of a sudden it's like, no, yeah, maybe it's unpleasant. I don't wish this was happening right now, but I know nothing but good is going to come from this. That's going to completely hijack your perspective. And you're going to always look at everything as like, no, I'm just going to be happy. That's the way, if I want everlasting happiness in my life, it's like the conversation I told you I had with my brother a couple weeks ago. It's like, how are you not outraged? Because I don't want to be outraged. I'm choosing not to be outraged. Yeah, I'm choosing to see the good in life. Is there a lot of shitty things in life? Sure. But there's also a lot of good in life too.
Yeah, I think when you focus on that, you ignore the good
Law
things,
of manifestation.
the gratitude. Yeah.
So check it out. Go back to quantum physics. Possibilities and potentialities. That's what physics says. Everything is a possibility, a wave of possibility, and a wave of potentiality. And I used to have people that would come in my office all the time, and they'd say, like, I know this is what's going to happen. I know this is what he's going to say. I know this is what's going to happen. And I'd get up from my desk, and I'd walk over to a little closet I had in my office, and I'd open the door, and I'd say, do you know, in the vast universe, all in here are just endless possibilities and potentials to how situations might unfold. Endless. Whatever number you could think of, times it by 1 billion and put it on steroids. There's endless possibilities. The minute you say, I know, I'd close the door. I'd say, you shut the door on every one of those possibilities. And you've now manifested all of your attention or directed all of your attention onto that.
Bad outcome.
I know what's going to happen. And guess what? Law of manifestation says you create and you manifest what it is you focus your attention on. You know what I mean? And we'll end it on this. I have to throw this on here because this is one of my favorite things I ever do. Did you ever see the Tony Robbins? I call it the Tony Robbins experiment, but Tony Robbins is awesome. But I saw him do this with Theo Vaughn on a podcast.
Okay.
And I've used it, shamelessly stole it forever because it's so awesome in regards to creating a reality and manifesting what it is you're finding. So check this out. Here's what I want you to do.
Oh, are we fucking with me right now?
No.
Okay.
I want you to do this. Okay. So I want you to take a look around this room. I want you to start from that laptop, that screen right there, and I want you to scale the entire room around us. And in your head, don't say it out loud, but in your head, I want you to tell me everything you say that's black. Collect it in your mind. Everything you see that's black.
Bit racist, but I'll try it.
I'll try it. Yeah. Okay. Close your eyes when you're ready.
Okay.
You good?
Yep.
I want you to tell me everything you saw that was yellow.
Oh, you fucker. I don't remember.
Okay, open your eyes. Why do you think you found more black than yellow?
Because you told me to look for it.
Because you were looking for it. So you will always find what you're looking for in life. Now, if you look there, you get the yellow cord.
Yep.
You could call that yellow.
That was right. It was literally right below me.
Right. So the point is,
Jesus,
you will always find what you're looking for in life. What you focus your attention on is what you will find. And whatever you focus your attention away from, you will not find. So if I constantly have in my mind that the negative outcome is going to happen, guess what I'm going to find?
The negative
outcome every single time. So I have to take my perspective and my perception and broaden it. And I make the choice to look for the good in life. And that's how manifestation works. People think they hear law of manifestation, law of attraction. They just think it's some fucking like mysticism type shit. Like, oh, no, I'm too busy with my fucking rat race life over here to be worried about your woo-ha shit.
Yeah.
No, dude, you just saw it happen right in front of your eyes. You will always find what you're looking for. Now, why is it that we find what we're looking for? Because it's tied to deep core beliefs. We want to find things that support our belief system. So if I keep thinking I'm a fuck up in life, guess what I'm going to find? Reasons to believe I'm a fuck up.
Yeah.
So I have to change my belief system and change it from I'm a fuck up to no, I'm a good person. I deserve good things and I'm going to get good things in my life because I deserve it. And then all of a sudden I'm going to find a ton of good things that support it because I'm looking for it. And that's Tony Robbins. That's not me. I would love to shamelessly steal that shit.
Yeah, but I don't think that's his.
Yeah, he probably got it from
got it from somebody else.
Some poor guy at a convenience store showed him and now he's making millions.
I think this is stuff that they've known for thousands of years. You just find new ways and new people to say it.
Yeah.
You know, to make it relatable.
There's a couple books that were really influential. One is that biocentrism one, which I would tell you to check out if you ever decide to read. And then the other one is called No Self, No Problem. And the tagline behind No Self, No Problem is how modern neuropsychology is catching up to Buddhism.
How about that for irony?
Right? These Buddhists, man, these Eastern civilizations or Eastern societies.
I made an observation a couple of years ago that the last 100 years is going to be known as the dark ages of medicine. And I'm hoping that people like you pull us out of the bog of it.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful that you came and hung out, and I hope you had a good time.
Dude, this is a blast, man.
You had fun?
Yeah.
Did you come back?
Dude, you intimidated the hell out of me because I
did?
Because you're very political, or you're very
I'm not political.
Yeah, but you're very
we talked about politics in our conversation for maybe a minute.
Okay, and I'll tell you, based off of that, I had to Google what fascism was. So that goes to show you, and my brother would kill me, obviously. And this is why I tell my brother I don't vote, because you don't want people like me voting, dude.
No, you do. It's like look, politics is it's an interesting observation of how the world works.
Yeah.
How interpersonal relationships and how friendships and everything works. Mm-hmm. And, politics happens at work. It happens in your family. It happens with your kids.
Sure.
Happens with all this stuff. The problem with the art of politics is there's consequences for people you don't know. And that's the problem I have with politics.
Yeah.
There was a study done that said any culture, any group of people under 100 do not need some sort of hierarchy or any of that, like a community.
Like under the age of 100?
No, like under 100 people.
Oh, okay.
Anytime it gets above that, that's when all the corruption and everything starts. It's really crazy.
Yeah.
And like my whole thing is like, if my purpose is to reduce human suffering, most of it comes from the government.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm not going to sit here and disagree with that statement at all.
You know, and then down below that is, well, intertwined in that spider web is the pharmaceutical industry, war,
insurance,
all of it, all of it.
Yeah,
education, all of it.
All the players in the game that have some type of vested, usually monetary interest in outcomes.
I can't believe how profound fall the money is.
Oh my God. And that's where, again, like when you go down the hole, like I even hate phrasing it that way, but when you go down the
rabbit hole,
like the rabbit hole where it's like, there's a new world order and there's,
it's real.
The banks run everything. And yeah, it's like, dude, it's wild.
And we're worried about like all this shit. And it's like, there's aliens.
Yeah.
And we're all like, oh, really? Well, what did Trump do that was stupid now?
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, what? Well, let's go back a page to the alien shit.
Hold on, did we skip over that whole like there's alien thing?
Yeah, like why are we just jumping over that?
Yeah.
Like, is it like, are they from another planet? Have they been here the whole time? Do they live underwater? It's like all these, and you have congressmen coming out and women coming out going like, oh yeah, it's real.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
Well, see, and the other thing too is like when you look at these political affiliations and these parties, and specifically Trump, it's like, as you had mentioned, like 3 days ago, Obama came out and people were like, oh wow, there's aliens, and Trump says like, fuck him and everybody that he knows.
No,
like,
what was his line? He goes, yeah, he made a mistake. I might have to declassify that to protect him. I'm like, that's you admitting there's fucking aliens.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like we all knew it. Like that was the thing that like was really. I try to tell like my conspiracy minded people when they're like the Epstein stuff. I'm like, guys, we all knew this.
Yeah.
Like we all knew it was terrible.
Dude, we've heard this stuff forever.
For years. It's
right.
Wait, like what? The government has to say it's true before you fully believe it?
There has been
forever.
Yeah, whispers of these underground child molestation cults.
It's happened forever.
How many young pop stars or child
Justin
actors.
Bieber.
Yeah, like they all end up down the same path. And when we learn addiction, trauma is one of the main players in the game when it comes to addiction. And it's like, well, why do all these young kids in Hollywood and then they're like, oh, well, that's because their childhood was stripped away from them because they were thrown in. No, their childhood was stripped away from them. Yeah, because these fucking sick people were preying on them.
I lived out there, man. I knew about it.
Yeah, so you saw it like firsthand.
I didn't see it, thank God.
No, but I mean, like
knew,
you
knew. Like there was a kid I met. I don't want to give him any details, but there's this kid that I met out there, and he let's say we stayed in contact, and he moved back around towards this area because he was from here, and I'm like, oh man, you left. I thought you were doing well. And he's told me some dark stories, and he's like, yeah, I had to go, and he was gay.
Yeah,
or he is gay. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. That should have never happened to you. You should have never, it's Bright Lights, big city. You're like, oh, I compromise whatever I feel is morally right for this, for an evening,
right.
And then I'm paying for it for the rest of my life. And that's, and they prey. It's predatory.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And it's just like AA. Like that's why I had a problem with AA. I found it very predatory to women specifically.
Oh yes, you and I talked about this on the phone. I'm there are people, and again, this is like when I talk about the gun control stuff. Way before guns were ever invented, there was murder. There was murder for political gain. There was murder for monetary gain. There was murder for lust and jealousy. You get the argument, ban the guns, and you're going to ban all the kitchen knives, and you're going to ban cars, and you're going to ban pressure cookers, and you're going to ban. It's like, where do we draw the line? Here's the sad fact that people just don't want to face. It's a part of being a human being. There is always going to be evil. There is always going to be fear. There is always going to be violence in the face. Now, you civilized people or American, citizens shouldn't have an AR-15.
It's the Middle Ages with credit cards and fluorescent lights, man. Nothing's changed in thousands of years.
Right. Like, part of me is like, okay, does an American civilian need a semi-automatic assault rifle?
Yes.
But, again, everybody's open and entitled to their opinion. If you tell me the tyrannical government, I'm going to walk out.
Why?
First of all, I think you underestimate the power of our government.
I don't care.
Here's the point I'm trying to make. Look at the Kennedys, for instance, okay? If the government wants you gone, they will wipe out your entire bloodline. Your AR-15 ain't doing anything.
See, it's not about that. Like if you look at everything before it's the Ron Swanson joke from Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
The world started in 1776. Everything before that was a fucking authoritarianism. It's true. Yeah. Joe Rogan says it too. Everything before 1776 was either a monarchy, authoritarian, strongmen, total fucking psychos. And the thing about America, and the reason why freedom of speech is first, because you can't let people tell you what to think. And these people, whoever started America, all the forefathers were like, people are trying to tell us what to think.
Yeah. Well, they broke off the king and for that purpose.
I mean, that's like the whole, it's all a fuckery back then too. But like the Second Amendment was there because if they try to take away how we're supposed to think, and it's always a tyrannical government. It's not to protect myself from my neighbor.
Sure.
It's always
defend from your government.
Yeah, and you're supposed to have a militia, and you're not allowed to do that anymore either.
Well,
and that's a constitutionally. See, the question is whether or not you're governed. Like the Constitution is rights given to you by God. If you don't believe in God, it was given to you by man, and man is above government.
Okay,
God and man are above government. Okay, government is just this organization.
They're supposed to work for us. Right? Like that's how government's supposed to work for the people.
It's not even that. Okay. They're supposed to protect us. Right? Okay. So if you look at all the amendments, the First Amendment, Second Amendment, all the way up to, I think it's up to like 27 or something like that. The government is supposed to protect you from anyone infringing on any of those.
Okay.
And the moment they don't, they're a tyrannical government.
Okay.
So the Second Amendment is there to protect yourself from a tyrannical government, not in the way that it's like, if anybody's coming to fucking kill you, get your guns.
Yeah.
Right? But just like Thomas Jefferson said, a little revolution is good every now and again because it resets everything.
Shakes things up a little.
Shakes things up. Right. That's why the Constitution is so important because nowhere else in the world has the things that we have.
Sure.
And they learn that from thousands of years
of experience
of experiencing that and the oral histories or the written histories of everything. And it's like
am I thinking too practically when I say the AR-15 is not?
Biden's like, hey, what's it matter with, like, the craziest thing that any fucking leader could say is, what does your AR-15 matter when we have F-16s? And it's like, that is something a tyrant would say.
I agree. But it also supports like my belief that like, why do I need to own it? Like, is it just because it's my God-given right? I'm not going to argue that. Okay, that's fine.
It's a great equalizer because you know what happens when everybody's armed? People are more polite to each other.
Okay, yeah,
that too.
Well, I disagree. Go into Baltimore and say that.
What?
Where people are armed, people are more polite to each other.
I'm not talking about gangbangers. I'm not talking about.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like
that's a war. That's like, we have these little pockets of wars in cities, especially the urban areas. Sure. And for any leader who's okay with that and is not trying to fucking correct it is insane.
Well, this is a systemic thing.
But like if the government comes, who do you think the fucking first people are going to be there? It's going to be the gangs. Because they're armed as shit. Yeah, that and fucking rednecks.
Yeah.
No, but I hang out with these people. I talk to them. I talk to some of my friends are absolute fucking murderers because of their military service. Like they have killed many people.
Sure.
And they're like, we need to keep our guns here because we've been there and we know what happened to those people. And you can't have it happen to here. You can't, because you got to protect your kids. You have to protect your family.
Yeah.
And look, die on your knees or die on your feet, man.
Yeah.
Because the default position of governments is to be tyrannical.
Right. Okay.
Every one of them has been that.
Yeah. No, I'm look at
what's happening in Britain right now. They have rape gangs. They're just.
I see this when I don't watch the news.
Oh yeah, there's been thousands of British people raped by illegal immigrants.
Jesus.
And they won't talk about it because it's racist. So the British people are now getting really fucking pissed off.
Yeah. This is
same thing in Australia. They took away once they took all their guns. We are now free to do whatever we want to you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Nothing. I want nothing more than our government to operate well and make sure that does the things it does, and we don't have to worry about that. But like, I'm sorry, man. They don't write that in there unless it's the default position for government.
If they know something could happen. There's right.
Can me and my AR or my 9mm or whatever take on a government? No.
Right.
But all of us, Yes,
It's a different
it's a
story.
deterrence.
Okay.
That's all it is.
It gives us a swinging chance.
That's also why other countries don't invade us.
Well, and here's the other thing I think about.
Did you hear what Hirohito said in World War II? Why they didn't invade America?
Why?
He goes, because behind every blade of grass will be a gun.
Oh, wow. That's true. That's a really, I never.
That's why they don't come here, because no other countries have their people armed like we do.
Yeah.
That's why we're the anomaly to everything.
Sure. Because we have our rights.
Because they can't. Yeah. Good luck invading us.
Hey,
Canada, Mexico, bring it on.
You got me fired up.
No, I don't think people should also be trained how to use them.
Oh my God. And pass a mental evaluation and a physical evaluation.
You can't do that. Because it's, you know what it is? It's unconstitutional. If you can believe that, it is. All right, I'm going to let you go.
Yeah. I
had a really great time. I hope you had fun.
Dude, yeah, this is a blast.
So nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Tell your brother if he ever wants to come on, I welcome. I've already invited him.
Dude, I'd love to see that. Let me jump on here when he's on here, and I just want to be like a fly in the room. I want to
come on.
things and see how
it'll be fun. He's a good guy.
Interact with each other, you know?
You're a good guy too, man. I'm really happy that you're doing what you're doing, and I'm grateful that you're doing it.
Yeah,
awesome.
Thanks for the opportunity, bro.
Man, that was a long time.
Yeah, I got to go coach kids basketball. See ya.